Okay. Those of you, my followers that I love dearly and appreciate greatly, that witnessed and have watched my last live stream, the way Chris was talking to me, he he got me so upset that I ended the live stream before he could falsely apologize to all of you that view this, because he don't want himself put in a negative light. But for those of you that have witnessed what happened, this is what I mean when I say this is the real, okay? This is the way he really is towards me. And he has given up. He is slowly unaliving himself, refuses to quit smoking, and he don't want to unalive himself alone. So he's trying to drag me down with him. Now, I'm sorry, just shutting the shutting the window, because when he's home, not even allowed to have the window open for outside air, because he has the AC running, and he has 2 tower fans in both doorways, so that it has a decent amount of coolness to it, but nowhere near what it should be, because he refuses to allow another AC unit to be placed in this apartment that he has already decided is completely his, and I have no say in the matter whatsoever. But to be fair, it would jack our electric up even higher than what we're already struggling with. This is what this is doing to me. This is how downtrodden I am from just him being home for a week. He was in the hospital for a week, about 2 weeks ago now. He got to come home the following Monday, because 2 weeks ago. So he went in on a Tuesday, I think it was. He came home on a Monday. By my calculations, it was Monday to Monday, but actually Tuesday would have been his full, first full week home. So this is how disheveled and how, like I said, downtrodden just having him home for a week has been to me. I'm not sleeping. I remember earlier today when they came and got him, a few minutes before they came and got him, him and I were both sitting here on the couch, and I said, just very calmly, because, I had no reason to scream it or yell or shout or anything like that. I just very calmly said, I have a bad feeling you're going to end up in the hospital again. Got up, started doing something in the kitchen. He went in to lay down. And as soon as he laid down, he yelled, "God damn it, I can't even lay down." Sat back up and told me to call the squad because he couldn't breathe. The long and short of it is, I feel like at this point he's got 2 options. And this is what they are going to tell him are his options. If they let him come home this time, and to be honest, I hope they keep him for a whole month this time. I really do. Because the stress of all this, I can't take it, guys. I can't even take care of me anymore because he expects me to take care of him, and the hell with me. And his frustration and anger and upset that he can't take care of himself, he is also taking out on me. So then he falsely apologizes for it. And I say falsely because to me they're empty words, because if he truly meant them, he would stop doing them. Yes? I called the squad. They came out. One of my neighbors, good friend in the building that also knows me and Chris. She's like a sister to me. Christy, you guys have heard or seen her in other live streams. She came out in the hall and said, "Janet, what's going on?" So I walked up to her and told her, and I broke down and started crying. I almost couldn't stop. Guys, this is the hell that you don't see. This is the hell that drives me to look like this, and the trauma from it all. I can't take it. My body cannot handle the stress. I have a heart condition. I don't know what it is. It has never been diagnosed, and I am terrified at what kind of tests they're going to want to run to get it diagnosed. But I kind of have no choice in the matter, and I'm not playing around with my life and health the way he has ruined his. So he wants to not be here anymore, and he wants to take me with him because he don't want to not be here anymore alone. I got out of the way while the MTs were here. I answered any questions they asked me. The last MT that spoke to me when they finally took him out and put him on the gurney, they had to carry him down in this newfangled medical chair thing that can take different shapes and stuff. They had to carry him down on that first. Then they had, once they got him out back, then they transferred him to the gurney and then put the gurney in the ambulance. They're either going to, he's either going to have to, and this is from the MTs themselves, at least one of them, he's either going to have to be on oxygen. Probably it's looking for the rest of his life. And if that becomes the case and he gets lucky enough and gets this free pass yet again, because this is all on him. This is not me. This is nothing I've done. He has done this to himself, and he started at the age of 9. And he's 61. You do the math. And yet he keeps smoking. They're either going to put him on oxygen, let him come home again, which I don't want, or they're going to put him in a home, which at this point, that is what I do want because I can't take this shit anymore. I have a 94-year-old mother that, you know, equally has her own issues, and every day with her is a blessing. And he even makes me feel like public enemy number one, or guilt riddles me for wanting to go over and see my mom because he expects me to just stay here all day with him and cater to him and help him because he can't do anything anymore. He can't bend over. He can't take out the trash. He can't get his own coffee. Sometimes he can. He can make his own coffee and pour it in the cup and bring it in here. Other times he's asking my help. He can't get his meds off the top of the fridge because that very act messes with his breathing. Every time he tries to lay down, his breathing gets worse. He comes out here, he's been sleeping on the couch for like throughout the night. And he does his breathing meds like he's supposed to be doing them. He does his breathing treatment like he's supposed to be doing it. And yet he still refuses to quit smoking. And what's worse, and I need to get this to their attention because I don't think I have. I don't know how many of you out there know the chemicals that are put in copier paper, but I'm sure there's quite a few, okay? He will take a piece of copier paper, tear it into a little strip, and turn that into a cigarette. He'll roll a cigarette, put tobacco in it, roll and smoke it. I mean, to me, that's like taking a bottle of liquid Drano and just downing it and waiting for it to unalive you, which probably wouldn't take very long. The MTs are tired of coming out here. I can feel it in their energy. I can see it on their faces. I just try to stay out of the way because these places are so flippin' tiny that me being here, I just feel like I'm in the way because there's always so many of them trying to crowd in this tiny ass apartment to take him to the hospital yet again. So smoking copier paper, smoking cigarettes, refusing to stop. They put him on antibiotics. Those work until the antibiotics run out. And then he's got another lung infection. And then if it's not a lung infection, it's pneumonia. If it's not pneumonia, it's something else. And it's always in the left lung. And because of this, I haven't been able to do my magic stuff for several days. Well, at least now you guys know why. Because This is how much of a frazzled mess I am, and I can't even find my book. I haven't done a grateful list in a couple days because, okay, the last day that I did was day 15. So here's day 16, magic and miracles in health. Oh, isn't that just fitting? So just to kind of change to a more positive right now, because otherwise, trust me, I will go overboard and overly focus on the negative, and that's what this book I'm trying to not do. I'm trying to break out of those patterns, not make them worse. Miracles are not contrary to nature, but only contrary to what we know about nature. We should feel healthy, energized, and full of happiness most of the time, because that is how it feels to have our birthright to full health. The reality, however, is that a lot of people don't feel this way very often, if ever. Many people are dealing with illnesses, problems with the functioning of their body, or suffering from bouts of depression and other mental health problems, which are all states of less than full health. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways I know to magically begin experiencing the full state of health you are meant to have in your body and mind. All the miracles of healing we see happen are simply the result of full health being restored instantly in the human body. Where before there was less than full and perfect health, if you don't think gratitude creates miracles in your health and body, then read some of the thousands of miracle stories on the Secret website, www.thesecret.tv/stories. Gratitude's magical power increases the natural flow of health to the mind and body, and can assist the body in healing more quickly, as countless studies have shown. The magical power of gratitude also works hand in hand with good bodily care, nutrition, and any medical assistance you might have chosen to follow. When there is some kind of sickness or condition in your body, it is understandable that you may have negative feelings about it, like worry, frustration, or fear. But having negative feelings about sickness does not restore health. In fact, it has the opposite effect. It reduces health even more. To increase your health, you need to replace the negative feelings with good feelings, and gratitude is the easiest way to do it. Many people also have critical thoughts and feelings of dissatisfaction about their physical appearance. Unfortunately, those thoughts and feelings also reduce the magical flow of health. When there's something you don't like about your body, you are not being grateful for your body. Think about it. By the law of attraction, complaints about your body bring more problems to complain about. And so complaining about your body or appearance puts your very health at risk. Whoever does not have gratitude for their health and their body, even what he or she has, will be taken from him or her. Whoever has gratitude for their health and their body will be given more, and he or she will have an abundance of health to their body. You may be sick or unwell now, even in a lot of pain, but if you are reading these words, you are continuing to receive the gift of health. It can be very difficult to access feelings of gratitude when sick or in pain, but even the smallest bit of gratitude helps increase the magical flow of health to the body. Today's practice, Magic and Miracles in Health, is designed to dramatically increase your health and happiness, and we're going to take a triple prolonged approach to accelerate the results. Step 1. Health you've received in the past. Think about the great health you have received throughout your childhood, adolescence, and adult life. Think about the times when you felt full of energy and you were happy. Recollect 3 separate times in your mind when you felt on top of the world. Say the magic words thank you and feel sincere gratitude for those times. If you think back to the big moments in your life, you will be able to recollect 3 separate times very easily. Step 2, health you're continuing to receive, present. Think about the health you are continuing to receive today and feel grateful for every organ, system, and physical sense that is currently working well in your body. Think about your arms, legs, hands, eyes, ears, liver, kidneys, brain, or heart. Choose 5 functions of your body that are well, and one by one mentally say the magic words, thank you, for each one. Step 3, health you want to receive. Future. You're going to choose one thing you want to improve about your body for today's magical practice. But you are going to use gratitude's magical power for it in a very particular way. Sorry, let me redo that. But you are going to use gratitude's magical power for it in a very particular way. Think about the ideal state of what you want to improve. When you give thanks for the ideal state of anything you have put into motion to receive back that ideal state. Very often, when a person is diagnosed with an illness or disease of some kind, they will not only talk about it a lot, but they will research the disease, gathering information about its possible worsening symptoms and dreaded outcomes. In other words, they give their entire focus to the disease. However, the law of attraction says that we can't make a problem go away by focusing on it, because focusing on the problem can only make the problem worse. Instead, we should do the exact opposite and focus on the ideal state for the area of our body that is unwell, and give our thoughts and feelings to that. Gratitude for the ideal state of any part of our body powerfully uses our thoughts and feelings together, so we magnetize it to us in one fell swoop. Spend 1 minute in visualizing a scene of yourself with the ideal state of your body that you want. And as you see your body in your mind the way you want it to be grateful for it as though you have received it. So, if you want to magically restore health to your kidneys, be grateful for strong and healthy kidneys that filter and sift out all the waste products from your body. If you want to magically restore health to your blood, be grateful for pure and healthy blood that flows oxygen and nutrients to all parts of your body. If you want to magically restore health to your heart, give thanks for a strong and healthy heart that maintains the well-being of every organ in your body. If you want to magically improve your eyesight, then give thanks for excellent vision. If you want to improve your hearing, then give thanks for perfect hearing. If you want more flexibility, then give thanks for a perfectly supple and agile body. If you want to change your weight, first think about the ideal weight that you want to be. Then imagine yourself at that ideal weight and give thanks for it as though you have received it now. Whatever it is that you want to improve, first imagine yourself with the ideal state, and then be grateful for the ideal state as though you have received it right now. Natural forces within us are the true healers of disease. You can follow the magic and miracles in health practice every day if you need to, and you can do it multiple times in a day if you really want to accelerate the magical restoration of full health or the improvement of an aspect of your body. But it is vital that whatever you have a negative thought or feeling about the current state of your body or health, that you replace it immediately by visualizing yourself with the ideal state you want, and by being truly grateful as though you have already received it. The most effective way to guarantee health, other than taking good care of yourself physically, is to continue to be grateful for your health. Sorry, my carpal tunnel's, my left hand's numb. So when I shake it like this, it's the only way I can get the feeling to kind of go away a little bit. Magic and miracles in health. Count your blessings, make a list of 10 blessings, write why you're grateful, reread your list, and at the end of each blessing, say thank you, thank you, thank you, and feel as grateful for that blessing as you can. Number 2, recollect 3 separate times throughout your life when you felt on top of the world, and give sincere thanks for those times. Number 3, think about 5 functions of your body that are well, and one by one give thanks for each one. Number 4, choose one thing about your body or health you want to improve, and spend 1 minute visualizing yourself with the ideal state of your body or health. Then give thanks for this ideal state. Just before you go to sleep tonight, hold your magic rock in one hand and say the magic words, thank you for the best thing that happened during the day. Next up, the magic check. And I'm going to pause there for a minute because I need to take care of me, and I need to go get me some lunch. And it's looking like it's going to be a ramen packet again today because that's all I have. Give me a little bit, guys, and I'll give you your treats. Just, I just got to take care of mommy right now. That's the last week. Open the chicken ones next. But at least you guys know I am still committed. I just got to play catch up. I'm getting through it the best way I can. But sometimes are more difficult than others. I just talked to my son Noah for the first time today on the phone since June 18th, when I last texted him. And it was something that came in the mail in his name, and somehow it got open because when I took it out of my mailbox, it was already open. My witch stinks told me, go ahead and read it, see what it was about, make sure it was nothing serious, that I needed to call him and say, you either do this right now or you're going to jail. So I texted him real quick, and he explained that to him. He called me, and he said he had just got out of county. So he's already done some jail time. And it was good to talk to him again. It was good to be in a, I was tried to be a very positive, nice, positive mindset. I don't know if Krista's able enough to even answer Noah's call, but if not, and Noah reaches out to me again, I'll let him know. If you couldn't get through, son, don't get upset. Just give it a couple days, try again, because I don't even know if he's at the James yet. I'm assuming he is, but then he hasn't called me, and they took him out of here. It was after 10 something this morning or something. I don't even know. And this time I made sure that he had his earbuds, he had his phone charger, and he had his phone. Because depending on how long they keep him in there this time, he'll be lucky if I come up and see him even once. Because now that may sound harsh, but you guys don't know the hell that I have lived Other than if you've gone back and watched through all my videos, there's pretty good indicators what my life has been like these past 18 years, being with an unstable, narcissistic, and I don't know how many more of the 5 he is. The 5 most dangerous personalities. Chris is 2 of them right off the bat. He's narcissistic and he's unstable personality. I gotta go get my noodles. Hang on, I'll be right back. I have spent the last 18 years of my life trying to make things work between me and Chris, and it just isn't there anymore. It's just not worth it to me to even keep trying. I want out. For these ramen noodles, I thank you now. As they sustain me, please allow your blessings on these gifts in me, as I will, so mote it be. Sorry I have to take this time to eat, but I haven't eaten anything since this morning when they took him away. Like 6 hours. I'm exhausted. I've been crying off and on throughout the day. Now, to be fair, in all honesty and sincerity, so it doesn't seem like I'm just Chris bashing, because I'm not. I'm just being very honest and open and real when I say his health issues are killing me. And I know that's like the opposite of what I'm supposed to be saying and thinking, but that's just how beat down I am right now. But I am determined to keep the grateful thing going. Just, however, I am grateful for instance, my health is far better than his. My health is okay, and I got to start imagining myself in perfect health. And functionality. I have to give cats their treats yet. I have to put away the clean, dry dishes and do up the dishes that are in the sink. I have to check the litter box. I have to check their water. I have to see if their food needs topped off again. I'm doing it all now. I'm grateful for this opportunity to take care of myself. To focus on the positives and focus on me and perfect health from here on out. And trying my very hardest to steer away from Christ bashing. But this is not just a one-time event. This has been accumulating for the past 18 years, guys. That's 2 years away from 2 decades. Because a decade, the way I understand it, is considered 10 years. Hey, Dragon. I hope you're having a better day than me, dude. Whenever you go back and watch this from the beginning, you'll be like, oh, no, not again. Yeah, exactly. So how you doing? What's up? I'm having my lunch right now. The last time I ate was 6 hours ago. Just ramen noodles, beef flavor. But just to recap for a minute, Chris is back in the hospital again. They took him in this morning, sometime after 10, I think it was. And I have yet to hear from him because I don't know if they've transferred him to the James already, or if they followed protocol the way they did it 2 weeks ago when he was in there for a week and then he came home on a Monday, and now today they took him back in. And this time it was because he couldn't breathe and he asked me to call the squad, so I did. Carpal tunnel. The only way I can get the numbness and the, needles and pins feeling to go away is to shake my hand. I don't know why, but it seems to work. I just have to remember not to do it too roughly, Yeah, I know how you feel. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I smoke my green. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, it would make perfect sense to me right now that my left hand is the one that is getting the brunt of it, getting the most. It's worse than the right because of an attack I suffered years ago in the back of this building where I live. Excuse me. Um, and so you don't have to, go back and try to find where that video was, because trust me, you'd be going back a while. I'll just say it was several years ago. It was a bad situation. I got carjacked, pistol whipped, and robbed all in one night, all at the same time. Chris was nowhere around. We had had a really bad blackout that was went several blocks long, both directions. So Chris, was just across the street at some of the businesses that were still open. Yeah. Trying to help, I come home after 2:00 in the morning. Two guys come through a fence that's next to our property. They had kicked out a couple of the boards, came through the fence with guns and mask over their nose and mouth. And one of them was heavy set. One of them was skinny. One had dreadlocks. One had they call them the little baby nappy hairs that are really, really close to the scalp. I don't remember if the skinny one had tattoos, but the heavy one did. And, it's one of those things that the horror of it is you remember word for word what was said to you, what was done. What had happened was back then I didn't have direct deposit. So I was still getting my checks in the mail, the paper version. Well, everybody knows what it means when you start flashing around that bright blue envelope. Ooh, money, let's go rob this chick. So it was my own fault. I went to get my mail. Me and a friend were out, running around, having a good time, having a girl day, whatever. I should have put my mail. I should have put it under my clothes, and I should have never walked out the door with that thing in my hand. So I basically painted the target on my own back when I did that. Because of the type of people that live around here, and because of the whole drug situation and, bad and all that. Yep, exactly. Yes. So very well what better time, right, than to catch somebody unawares. I had taken, it was in the summertime. I had taken my friend home. It was 2:00 in the morning. It was July 2nd, but I don't remember what year. When they pistol whipped me, they hit me in the back of the head. It was over on the right-hand side. And I have dizzy issues and vertigo and all kinds of problems, neck issues, you name it, because of that to this day. So sometimes just the simple act of bending forward to look down or something, I'll get dizzy. And that's just a normal thing, to do, right? Or turn my head to look a certain direction, I'll get dizzy. Or get up and try to walk, and then the next thing I know, the whole room's just spinning. And I'm like, whoa. And then I just reach out for something to steady myself, and I just stand there a minute until it goes away. So we decided to get the direct deposit right then and there, which was the best course of action. When Chris finally got back over to our building, looked out the balcony window, because we have a balcony. Low blood pressure, so getting up too fast causes that. Yes, exactly. And I have high blood pressure, so I can relate, a little bit there at least. I can't get myself too worked up because I actually do have a heart condition. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it would be diagnosed as. And I'm absolutely terrified what the doctors would put me through to find out what's up with it. But near as I can tell, and I'm not a medic in any way, but it's the best way to describe it is it's just at random times. I never get any warning. Yeah, exactly. I don't get any warning, and all of a sudden it's either my heart is beating irregularly or little air bubbles are exiting my heart and going off in my chest. Yeah, it's a very scary feeling. And so when that happens, I just start thinking in my head, calm down, you're okay, calm down. Because if I focus on it, I'm just going to make it worse. Excuse me. Another thing I have to be careful about with the high blood pressure is my favorite, when you get cold and flu, My favorite medicine to take over the counter is the Alka-Seltzer cold and flu, because it's effervescent. You drop it in the water, it sizzles, it does a bubble thing. You drink it down, you're good. I can't take that because of the high blood pressure. And I didn't know that until I finally read the box one day, and I was like, uh-oh. So now my best way, my best defense against a cold, I can't do, because it's too dangerous for me. But the last live stream that I did was only like a handful of minutes long. And if you ever get around to that one, you don't have to, it's not a mandatory, but you will see the side of Chris that I was mentioning. And I killed the live before he could get on and put on his little show that, he apologizes to anybody that watches that particular live stream, that he was interrupting my live stream, and he was talking negatively about household stuff that had nothing to do with the live stream. That's just him covering his own ass. I'm not saying that isn't the way he really feels, but the point that he did it at the worst possible time is bad enough. I'm at my wit's end here. I can't. I was actually crying in the hall. Yeah. See, that's what scares me, because I don't know what it is. I mean, it terrifies me. And my head right now is going towards, how long are they going to have him this time before they release him? I'm trying to think about me, and I have reached out to doctors. I've described to them what it feels like when my heart does that thing that scares me, but they can't seem to put a label on it, So I know that, yes, very possibly it could be irregular heartbeat. It could be, something worse. God is pleased, no, not something worse. Let it be something easily taken care of and fixed. That's all I'm saying. And I would prefer not to get cut open under a surgical knife to get that done. But if they try to stress test me or something, I don't think I'd be able to handle it, because I'm already under enough stress. So that would just make it worse. And it's like, no. Going to have to find another way. There's got to be another way that you guys can diagnose me, so at least I know what I'm dealing with and I can get the proper care I need so that I'm okay. One of the things I mentioned earlier on the live here, do you know, just hypothetical if you want to put it that way, the chemicals that are in copier paper? Because there are chemicals in copier paper, right? When Chris doesn't have cigarettes, yeah, and that would be fine. See, something like that I could handle, no problem. I'm all for that, but I don't want him to stress test me, because the stress is already through the roof. But once it is found out, and if it is, please Goddess, let it be one that can be handled and fixed with medication. I'm all for it. Okay, but obviously there's going to be chemicals in it, right? Because there's got to be a bonding agent to hold the paper together, right? And the machines they put it through and whatever. It's a feeling I can't describe, I guess, any other way. But when Chris doesn't have actual cigarettes to smoke, he will take copier paper, he will tear off a strip of it and roll his tobacco in that and smoke it. Now, I'm sorry, but it seems to me like that's probably not a good idea, because you don't know. There may be some chemicals in there that could be doing the very thing to him that is going on with him right now, which I have tried on more than one occasion to explain to him, only to feel like I'm talking to a wall. And usually when you talk to walls, they don't answer, they don't talk back. I'm grateful that I'm okay. I'm trying to get through this. I really am. But this ain't my first rodeo either. So I hope that I do get it finally checked here soon, and, figure out, okay, where do we go from here? What kind of medication do I need to be on and stuff, so that we can get this handled before it turns into something worse that can become fatal, Oh, my eyes watering. Is that? But you know how they say when your gut is telling you not to do something, you should listen. And my gut this whole time has been endlessly telling me, how do we know it isn't that? Yeah. Yeah. And he's done those before because he's one of those when he don't have his action, like when he has a filtered cigarette, it doesn't matter if it's hundreds, lights, don't matter, full flavor, you name it. He will cut half of the filter off to where there's just this tiny little piece of filter left because that's just the way he likes to smoke them a lot of times. I don't know why. He explained it to me, but it went over my head because I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke that kind of thing. I only smoke my green. And he has done papers before, certainly. And yeah, you're right. I mean, you can get a pack of papers for a couple bucks. No, he wants to use copier paper. And another thing that he would do that would terrify me is he would go on what I call a butt search. He would walk out back before all this health stuff went downhill. He would walk out and he would walk down a certain amount of like down to the end of this one shopping area because we're like right like minutes away from Town and Country, if you know where that is. We're real close to John Glenn and try that again. John Glenn Airport. I mean, literally minutes away. So, like, if I walked out my front door and the front of the building and walked maybe 2 or 3 blocks to the west, I would be at James Road. So we're right there. Yeah. But, everybody has their own way, that they like to do that stuff. And, I always say, hey, if it works for you, then that's what matters. Yeah. Well, Columbus, Columbus, Ohio, Eastern Standard Time is the time zone that I'm in. And, but yeah, he would walk down this strip, I call it, and he would pick up cigarette butts. And if he found them, especially if they had significant amount still left, but somebody stamped it out because they just popped out of their job for a couple minutes to have a little tokie and then back to work, right? So he would go and he would pick up cigarette butts and he would take all the tobaccos and combine them into a baggie, and then he would bring them home and then he would proceed to roll them and smoke them. Okay. Not knowing what the person before, that smoked that, they could have some kind of disease, they could have COVID, they could have, any number of things that you don't even think about. And it always bothered me that he had no problem rolling and smoking anyway, when he could be taking elements into his body that way that could be doing this damage. I mean, to me, it's not safe, and if they decide to let him come home this time, he's probably going to be put on oxygen permanently. And if so, then he definitely is going to quit smoking because you can't have sparks and flame and crap like that around an oxygen tank. I'm not dying today because of something stupid he does. Or they're going to put him in a home. And the heartbreaking thing is, I'm to the point now when I'm ready to sign the paper and let them. Because I can't handle the stress of what he is expecting of me. I do my best. I constantly get snapped at by him. Then he turns around and he apologizes and he says a lot of it is just that he's frustrated because he got himself in this situation and, and I get that. But he's always taking it out on me. I get the brunt of it all. And that is not how a relationship's supposed to work. That is not how a couple is supposed to, if they truly love each other as much as everybody seems to think we do. I'm not saying he doesn't, but honestly, I could not tell you that I love him. I don't feel it anymore. I don't feel it in here. Okay. And when I say it, even in my head, it's just empty words. It means nothing to me. And yet I have spent the last 18 years with this guy. And now this, I just can't. Everybody has their limits. This is my limit. I can't. I can't keep on this path or it's going to take me down. And, you know, we're struggling for money like so many. He can't work a job. I can't work a job, because if either of us tries to work a job, then SSI will step in and they'll start yanking our check, and they'll start taking out what they feel they have a right to take out, even if it's more than they have a right to take out. So we're struggling to make ends meet and struggling to get by. And now this is just adding to the struggle because of the additional money I now have to miraculously produce out of thin air. Good luck with that one. Keep gas in the car to go to all the doctor appointments. This is my son. Hang on. I'm gonna. Sorry, son, not right now. I already talked to him earlier, and he doesn't know that I'm doing a live stream. He lives in Mansfield. That's my son that was on the Christmas thing, Noah. When we did the Christmas thing, and that's how I met you and stuff. That was him. That's his ringtone. He really likes that song, so it seemed fitting to make that his ringtone. But I already talked to him earlier. I can't talk to him right now. I just can't. So I'm at the point now where I seriously need to come up with a plan. What am I going to do? You know, how am I going to continue to live? Yeah, exactly. Yes. And, you know, it's not like I haven't offered in the past, because I certainly have many times. It's like, are you sure you don't want me to help with the bills? No, I got it. I mean, he pays over $600 in bills every month. Okay. And that's a lot, you know, considering your check is only $967 a month. And with the two of us combined, that's $1,973 a month we get. And it's gone within the first couple of days. It's gone. He has too many credit cards. He can't keep those paid down. He has to keep pawning his camera and his drone over at the Levs, which is right, just not even 2 blocks from here, really. About 2 blocks maybe. But anyway, he does that a lot to get money, because we always run out. If I get something special for myself, he makes me feel like, you know, oh, that's all you need is one more of those. That's all you need is bringing more shit in here. Yet it's perfectly okay for him to do so. And I'm not allowed to say anything like that to him. Oh no, because then that will start another argument. And yeah, I don't know. I'm done. I'm done with that. It's like kicking a dead horse, or, you know, trying to get a wall to talk back to you. It ain't going to do it. Hey, when that one noodle wants to struggle, you know, and you feel like you look like you're eating worms or something. And these are the little bits that always crumble up. Okay. Just out of curiosity, answer me this if you can. If 2 people, like me and Chris, are in a relationship together, and both of us individually feel we're the only ones in the relationship, should those 2 people stay together? I don't think so. Yes. And it's not like Chris hasn't, you know, outright admitted, you know, that he hates how much he's putting me through. He hates how much he's putting both of us through. And all I'm trying to say, and yes, he is a vet, so he knows, he saw some messed up stuff over there, and he's only shared a handful of the stories with me. And he's seen stuff that you don't unsee, like, ever. I keep having dreams about him leaving me for someone else. He'll be in a dream for a handful of minutes and then he's just suddenly gone. And I'm like, where did he go? And it's scary, that just adds to the fear of, I'm afraid to sleep because I'm afraid I'm going to wake up and find him, no longer in the living. And I'm the one that has to make all the phone calls. I'm the one that has to tell everybody. And for every person that I call and tell them, I'm reliving it again and again and again, and it's like, no, I please no, because going through it once is entirely enough. Yeah. I don't remember. I can never remember where he said he was stationed. He went that he really liked, like there was a certain area of Spain that he got to go to for like a short time. I don't even remember how long the thing was that they were on, or whatever you guys call it as a military. And he loved it there. And he said he would love to move there, somewhere like that. So yes, he does have a degree of pride, I guess. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I can imagine that's not fun either, to deal with. And my dad, when he was still living, he was a vet. He was, according to my mom, he was in World War II, which I guess is possible because my mom was born in 31. And so my dad, because World War II, that was like back in World War I, sorry. That was back in like the 40s and stuff, right? So it's possible that he was. And if there was, I believe he was, because why would my mom lie about something like that? He was behind the front lines. And this was the only story that mom really ever shared with me. There was like two significant, and he got to see, 40 years, 40s. Yes. Okay. World War II. It might've been World War II then. Cause he would have been pretty young, cause my mom, she was born in 31. So yeah, I imagine it is possible. And, when, Chris looked up the, grave site that my dad was at, the grave, the cemetery he was buried in or whatever, they said he found it through military records and stuff. He was behind the front lines. Oh, wow. I can imagine that was something. Goodness. My dad, he saw his friends get blown away right in front of him. And like I said, you don't unsee that. Those are the things that become the endless nightmares that you just never go away. And he got a dishonorable discharge for turning in a drill sergeant that was abusing the new boys that would come in. I don't know if the guy was verbally abusing them, physically, or a combination. I really don't know. Mom would never specify, other than he saw something that he felt was wrong, which it was immoral and not something a drill sergeant is supposed to do. And so he turned the guy in for it, and they gave him a dishonorable discharge for doing the right thing. Okay. That ain't fair. He was protecting those boys that were being like abused by this drill sergeant. That's not okay. I certainly would. What if it was one of our kids? You know what I'm saying? What if it was somebody's kid that we knew that were like family to us because they were that close to us, Crazy, crazy, crazy. That's all I know. Oh, Lord. And today, the topic of the day for for the magic, the secret thing is health. I was like, oh, that is so fitting. Let's see if I can go back to it's in the beginning part of this. Magic and miracles in health. So they're better about that now, but yeah, back then and even during Nam era. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So abuse is abuse, right? It's not right by any means. Excuse me. So I get it. I do. I understand that a lot of the frustration from Chris is that he can't take care of himself, that he does have to ask me for so much more than he ever has, in the 18 years we've been together. But I also owe it to myself and, the universe, to say, you're killing me here. You're taking me with you, and that's not okay, because I can't handle the stress. My mom is 94. Every day is a blessing. A lot of times past that I don't even get to go see her because I'm afraid to leave him alone even for a couple of hours so I can go see my mom. And that's not okay. I can't just become a prisoner in my own home, and yet that's exactly what I feel like. And I mean, I don't want to feel that way. I mean, that I'm a very loving person. I'm a very giving person. I have compassion to a fault, and it keeps getting me in trouble. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop being compassionate, but Chris has already unalived himself twice and succeeded. I don't know about him, but me personally, no, I'm not on Discord. I'm not kind of familiar with the name, but I'm not on it. I'm on Facebook, but I think you have to look me up under Janet Marie Mabius there. And then that should bring up, like my main page, and you can always friend request me and just let me know your name on here so I'll know who it is, so I'll accept it, It's like, oh, dragon, okay, and I'll accept it. I also have Instagram, and I also have TikTok still. But on the Instagram, I can't do any more live streams right now with that because I don't have 1,000 followers, so I can't do any more. But I can do them on TikTok still, and I do once in a while. I try to do even if it's just a 10-minute little video or whatever on TikTok that says, "Hey guys, this is what's going on. Sorry I haven't been on in a while, but there's other things that take precedence over this right now. I can't commit to this right now. I can't be on a whole lot because my life is in so many pieces right now. It's like somebody walked into my living room, dropped a bomb and left, and it went boom. And now I'm trying to pick up the pieces and I can't. I'm too exhausted. And I'm always praying for Chris. I'm always lighting candles for him and asking the angels and the powers that be and all the good spirits out there, please help him. Please help him breathe. Help him be okay. I don't like seeing anybody go through this because it's just horrible. And, my mom, I'm pretty sure, is getting dementia. She's repeating herself a lot. She's uses a set of binoculars, actual binoculars, to watch her TV that's basically about 4 foot away from her. And she won't let me take her to a hospital or a doctor so she can get her ears taken care of because her hearing's bad too, and her eyesight, because she hates doctors that much. She doesn't want nothing to do with them. Get them away from me. I'm fine. No, you're not, Mom. You're not. She's there alone a lot. And, then I get burdened, and I'm not saying my mom isn't worth it, but I get even more stacked onto my shoulders of trying to please her, take care of her, please Chris, take care of him, wonder how long is he going to be home this time before he's at the hospital again. And what is it going to take? Yeah, it should be. Like I said, if you want me to literally spell out my name, I can do that for you. Janet is just Janet, Marie, Marie, and then Mabius, Mabeus. So yeah, that's definitely me. I think I have blue hair, if I'm not mistaken. I think back then, because I was doing I'm still doing, this is red, that's like, because the gray's coming through already, which is white. So my hair is like the perfect 3 gothic colors right now: red, white, and black. And when it gets to a certain point, I'll just do the root touch up again. and then it has the real pretty bright red for a while, but then it turns pink. And I'm like, huh? Okay. Because I love pink, and it's a happy color. Yeah, I mean, look at my shirt. It's got all kinds of pink on it. Even the cat's eyes are pink. And it's nice and witchy, so that makes me happy there. I did cut my hair pretty short. I mean, the back of it I chippity chopped all over the place. Just about the Demon Bridge, right? I think so. Demon Bridge sounds familiar because for a while there, I was watching, I was an avid watcher of the Paranormal Files. And that's all I'll say, because you should know who I'm talking about. Beardo has, he's many times he's turned Colin down for a collaboration, because he don't want nothing to do with him, and he proved that he was a faker. So I stopped watching, but there may possibly, yes, be something on there about Demon Bridge. I know there was one about, what the heck did they call that? I can never remember the name. But it was Colin and his brother-in-law, and it was a bridge that I think it had some kind of Native American title to it or something, and like Lone Wolf Bridge or something or other, and it I don't know if it's still up, but when it was and I saw it, Colin said in the intro or whatever, or outro, that if you like the video, if you watch it through, because it was one of those, they weren't sure how long that it was going to be up before somebody might complain or something and take it down. And then, so you like the video, make a comment. I always make positive comments, and stuff, because I really liked watching them. But I never discounted the possibility that, yes, he could be a faker. There's many out there, of course. The only way to really know when something like that is real is when you're experiencing it yourself. Some of us can explain it easily. Some of us not so much. It's like a living nightmare I can't wake up from, because some people just don't know how to put it in the proper context. Oh, I saw this dark shadow following me and I just ran. Or I looked into the darkness and it terrified me because I felt like there was this really dark presence there and I just wanted to get away from it. I've had some doozies myself. But Moonville Tunnel is another one that I would love to do. I would love to paranormal investigate. It is a very real place that I could get to myself, and I've been there once. Chris took me. Him and I went one summer. It was real pretty out that day, I remember. And he had all of his, camera gear and everything. And as soon as we got to the parking lot, I started crying because I was so happy to be there, because ever since I found out about it, which I found out about it through Ravenwood Castle, because Ravenwood Castle is basically like a bed and breakfast, but medieval style. It's really cool. If you want to look it up, go ahead. You'd be like, whoa, those are awesome. Right now, last I knew, the cheapest rooms that you can get, it's a log cabin. It's a full-blown wood cabin, but it's kind of small. You can fit 4 people in it. They have a futon that pulls out. You can use it as a couch, or you can use it as a bed at night. They only have a shower, though. They don't have a tub in that one, but it was like $149 a night. So for a little over $400, you could spend a week in there. Anyway, that was how I originally found out about Moonville Tunnel, because being a witch and being paranormal enthused, and all that, and supernatural and all that, I was like, oh, I would love to check out this tunnel. I want to see this tunnel because it's only 30 minutes from Ravenwood Castle. So Chris took me one day, and there was a lot of people there. A lot of families, a lot of kids, running around, just having a good old time. I did feel some of the energies there, but there were too many. Like, it was too difficult to single out if I was feeling the energy of someone else that was walking around or playing, or some kid, or if I was actually feeling one of the spirits that have been known to haunt that area, because it's the last remaining section of this train tunnel. And once you see how tall it is, and you see a person standing in front of it and they look the size of a Lego figurine, yeah, it's pretty big. And as soon as you walk into the mouth of that tunnel, it's like 20 degrees cooler instantly. It could be 100 plus outside, and you're like sweating, and you're like, oh my gosh. You step in there, it's like walking into a freezer. It's a trip. Never felt threatened there, though. The bits and pieces I was able to learn about the history of it and some of the deaths that have occurred there. Again, that gets into research that can take you back eons to find, because it used to be, some of the area used to be a village, I guess, or a small town or something like that. I have always wanted to take a paranormal team there, and I have seen video footage of other paranormal teams there. But getting a group together, I mean, I have a handful of people that would do it right now, and we have a little bit of equipment. Yeah, we could probably get by, but it's the journey. See, it's the fact that, especially if, say, it was 3 women and we didn't have a guy there, like, at all, we better be some tough broads, or we could be opening ourselves up to something dangerous, you know, especially with Christy and Norma being so much more inexperienced with the occult and everything. And I've been in it 33 years or some craziness. I know a lot about it. I don't know everything. And to be honest, I don't know that I would want to know everything, because my head would probably go boom. It would be like overwhelmed, tremendous overwhelm, because there's so much out there. But I many times have mentioned on, like, one of in the comments section of one of Colin's random videos I happened to watch, you know, one time. And okay, I trust you. Like I said, once I get there, I'll look, because it always shows me when, you know, somebody friend requests me and stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely check that out. The only problem is I can't do it while I'm doing the live stream, because I don't know how to do that. I'm not Chris. I don't have that kind of technological know-how. I wish I did, because then I'd be like, oh, hang on a minute. And I'd be able to do both. Lives in Columbus. Yes, that's me. Yep, that's me. Columbus, you know, I think we're considered East Side. Excuse me. We're not considered Hilltop or Bottoms or anything like that, even though I've lived in the Hilltop and in the Bottoms. So it's kind of a combination. But I have another page there that is something about, like, relaxation and wellness or something, but I almost do nothing on it. Like, I couldn't even tell you what the last comment was that I even wrote on there. But I will definitely, I mean, if I could, I don't think I can even bring it up on my phone. And this computer is the only one that seems to really be working, because my 2-in-1 that I've got used to work pretty good, but the last few times I tried to get on and do a live stream, it wouldn't let me. So I had to resort to my oldest one here. See, this is the 2-in-1 that I have. It's not very big. See if I can remember how to open this thing. If I can get it fired up and get it to maybe, you know, access that, then I can get on there and I can accept it right away. Because I'm not doing a live stream. I'm just, you know, accepting a friend request. So I'll see if I can do it. So bear with me. I'm going to try. Okay. I need my other, where's it at? Here it is. Had to get my other mouse, because this is the mouse that controls my 2-in-1. And it's a wireless. Now I got to remember the right password. Got to put on my eyeballs, like I'm always saying. Otherwise, I have to squint to read anything. So let's see here. I got to remember. Oh, I remember the right one. And hopefully it'll at least let me get onto my Facebook. Okay, where are you at? Okay. Facebook. Oh boy, yeah, it's definitely been a while since I've been on here. Because I don't know that I can remember. I'm trying to get something off my screen here. I don't know if I can remember how to get into this even. Darn it. Okay, email. Okay, let's go with this one and hope it's the right. Find out here in a minute. Gotcha. And I believe I just accepted it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I saw your name over on the right, and I saw your little symbol like you got on here. Have Chris friend me and let him know I'm also a vet. If he ever needs someone to talk with, maybe I can help that way. Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate it. I'm sure he would love that because, believe it or not, Chris doesn't have a whole lot of friends. I mean, because of his, and this is not meant in a negative way at all. He has a strong feminine side. So, he doesn't, I mean, most of the friends that he has are female, but, he has a handful. Like, I know he likes Beardo pretty good. There's been times when, we've watched some of the debunks and everything. But there's so many of you guys, I can't even keep up sometimes. But, so I would try to get on there and enjoy that with him, because I knew that it meant something to him, and I mean, I know that there's fakers out there, trust me. And sadly, I mean, they're making like crap tons of money, it's like, what the heck, how does that work? So it's not a fun thing for sure. I keep having these things pop up on me over here on the right. I have to keep clicking out of them. But yeah, and I'm sure that would always help, because you guys really truly can get each other on a level that, say, somebody like me, as much as I might love and care about my friends, I might not be able to, because I wasn't there. I didn't go through that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I guess that's always been a challenge for me too, because, and I'm glad, that you're okay with it. It just seems odd, I guess, and awkward to me that he has more female friends than he has male friends, but it's like, okay. But he had this one guy, I forget the guy's name. I don't remember if he was a vet or not. He might have been. And he lived somewhere in Florida, I think. And I only talked to the guy. Did I talk to him? Because I can't remember if, like Chris, one of the times he talked to him, he had it on speaker so I could hear the guy's voice too. Or if Chris was just, telling me what he was saying, and then Chris would tell his friend what I was doing. And it's like, well, you knocked that off. So it was nothing necessarily bad, just, weird and awkward, And, that guy seemed pretty cool. I don't know whatever happened to him, though. I hope he's still okay. And, just the handful of people that I know that know him, I don't even associate with anymore because, like, we parted ways years ago, eons ago. I've been in so many witch circles, I've lost count. And there was one that I was on for a while that had to do with a store called Salem West that used to literally be down on the corner of West Fifth Avenue or somewhere like that. It's like a hippie store now where they got like hippie clothes in it and stuff. And but I knew it as Salem West, and there was a guy there. His name was AJ Drew. That it turned out Chris knew them and that group before I became a part of it. And excuse me, for a while. Excuse me again. For a while, AJ seemed to be really, like, it felt right to him. He was really into it. He had a whole shop, and a lot of fun gatherings, a lot of cool people that, I remember hanging out with that I wish I could have kept in touch with, but, it's like 1 minute the shop is there, the next minute it's just gone. And he gave all that up and decided to become a holy roller. So not that Christianity is bad, but that's just a term that we're familiar with. That, he started going to church and, changed his life around, gave up the whole magic scene, gave up the whole Wicca thing and all that. So, that's perfectly okay. And I understand that and I respect that. And last I heard, sorry, I'm just setting up some stuff that fell over here. Darn it, if it'll stay up. There's a lady. She knows me, she knows Chris, and it's part of his past. Yeah, exactly. So And I mean, I guess sometimes the only way you're going to know if something is right is you got to try some stuff, and see what feels right. What feels right in here to me is always important. And if it feels right in here, that's equally good, but make sure, don't do it just because somebody else is doing it. I'm not here to wave a banner and say, come and be Wiccan because I am. It's a lot of fun. We have cookies or no. Just, the open-mindedness I can greatly appreciate, because it's nice to have other magically inclined, or, somebody that's at least open about such things to talk with. So, you don't feel like some alien that's landed on the planet and is trying to have a conversation with a human and we can't understand each other. But yeah, it definitely helps. It's definitely a blessing to have some other vets that you can reach out to, and have somebody to talk to when you need about that kind of stuff, or things that maybe you're not comfortable talking with your partner about. And I get all that. I've never told Chris not to be friends with somebody. He's never really told me not to be friends with somebody. I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few of them that he's known throughout the time him and I have been together that, yeah, he wasn't crazy about. Like, him and my brother do not get along. They do not get along. And, so that's kind of like a touchy subject. I try not to talk about a whole lot around him. There's periods when my process has always been shut up and shut down. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying it's right. And I'm certainly not saying it's healthy, because it probably isn't. It's definitely not good to stuff things down. But I've already got a handful of my friends that are really my friends worried about me now, because they know the stress that I'm under. And they're like, Janet, you just take a Janet day, just chill, relax, don't do anything you don't want to do. Just, make it an easy day for yourself every way that you can. So here I am, That's why I decided, you know what? It's been a couple of days. I need something positive, more positive to focus on, so that I'm not overly focusing on the negative and bringing even more of it. No thanks. Time out. I need to breathe. So, I wish I could have talked to my dad more maybe about that stuff, but my dad passed away when I was like 20, and I was like 8 months pregnant with my first child. So there was no way I was fit to travel anywhere. I couldn't even go to my dad's funeral. And that was not easy. That hurt me a lot, because there's just too many gaps. There's too many empty spaces that now will never be filled, because to a point, yeah, his spirit and mine. I mean, there's days when I can talk kindly about him, and I try to remember positive, loving things about him. But then the dragoness in me takes over, and then the bad comes out, and it's like, okay, I need to change the subject, or I'm going to over talk about something that I'm tired of kicking the dead horse. It ain't moving. It's not going anywhere. And it's unfortunate, because my dad, he was very highly intelligent too. And, he could build, what would you call that? He was so intelligent and gifted that he could build a radio that would literally reach across the entire world from scratch. And he could build computers from scratch. Chris has some of those same abilities. And my dad, he had a couple of games that just basic, simple. I don't know how he did it, but he did. He had one that was a Star Wars game that I remember in my childhood. My sister Naomi used to play a lot, and she was really good at it. But I don't remember if I ever tried it or not. And then there was another one called the Invisible Brick. And the Invisible Brick was basically a line down the screen, and then another line coming at the line down the screen. The line down the screen being the wall, and the brick being the other line. So, you would see it you would see it visible for a few seconds, and then it would just disappear. And then you would have to push a certain button right before it broke the window, because the other line was apparently a window or something like that, or a building or something. Yeah. Well, my mom, she was getting postcards, guy. She was getting postcards from all over the world, and my dad was actually getting jealous that she was getting postcards from all these people that she was just talking to on the radio. It's not like it was a hot date, or that she was trying to cheat on him or anything like that. No, she was just talking to people and saying, hey, how you doing? Just like a lot of people will do on a ham radio, or a CB radio, similar principles. And, my mom is the one that helped him fix that computer or that radio. Oh, QSO cards. Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't know that term because I'm not computer savvy yet. But I started a computer course. My ear's itching. Need a shower. A few years ago, it was through Stratford, which is a career institute. And I feel bad because I'm like literally behind 3 courses that I was only able to pay for a short time because they give you very small payment amount you make every month. And then you could have access to their internet. So you could get your grades that way. You could, I loved it. I loved everything about it. And it was through Stratford that I literally have a diploma. Yes. And my sister, when her husband was alive, they did ham radio. And I remember WD8CDH was somebody's handle. And it was WTK8 something or another. That was another. Because I don't remember what Naomi's was, but WD8CDH, that's never left my brain. And it was just somebody's handle that they went by with the ham radio stuff. But, my mom was the one that helped my dad fix that radio that was, let's call it worldwide or universal, that was all over the world and all different parts of the countries and stuff. And she's like, I'm telling you that this is what you did wrong. And if you fix it and you switch it, it'll work. Well, my dad, being the prideful man that he was at first, he's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And then he kept trying some other stuff. He kept getting frustrated because nothing was working. And then she's like, I told you. So he finally gave in. He finally did what she suggested. And it worked. That was exactly the thing that needed to be done. Okay. See, that's just what I remember of it. And I remember, yes, that I always viewed them as like long distance walkie talkies, so like me and Naomi could be in the car and we could be completely on the opposite side of town than Ron was, and we could hear each other like we were just 2 cars behind each other, So the distance was really, really strong. And apparently they had good signal or they wouldn't be coming through that strong. And Ron was very intelligent too. He had some kind of heart condition that took him out. And it was December 4th. I don't remember what year was his death date. And I remember calling my sister on the anniversary of, I don't know if it was the first one after he had passed or what, but Ron's spirit came to me and he said, call your sister. And I'm like, Ron, I don't think that's a good idea. You know what she's going to do. I know what she's going to do. I don't want to subject myself to that. But I did it anyway because she's still my sister. She's always going to be my sister. But I don't really acknowledge her a whole lot because she has divorced the family. She kicked our 90-some-year-old mother at the time out in the street in the middle of winter with nowhere to go. And I was, that pretty much did it for me. I was like, no, that is every way wrong. And she kept raising my mom's rent, and my mom she couldn't pay it anymore. And then some weirdo or bad guy, let's say that, literally drove into the front room of the house. And thank goodness my mom wasn't sleeping in the rocking chair. That would have been definitely one of the things that would have got hit, and it probably would have killed her. And it was one of the times that she had decided to go, lay down in her bedroom, which it saved her life. Because like this car was literally in the middle of her front room, and it was a mess. I remember my who was it that told me about it? It was probably my brother, because he was living here at the time, not in Mountain Gilead where he is now. And I saw him coming out of the neighbor's house, and I just started crying, and I just threw myself into his arms because we came that close to almost losing our mom. And Dad's already gone. So they say when you lose your mom, that's the hardest. And believe me, I'm not looking forward to going through that myself. But all I can do at this point is just try to get over there as best I can, try to get over there as much as I can, spend time with her, do different little things for her, just be with her, and so she's not there alone by herself all day. And, if something was to happen to her and she couldn't summon help, I don't want to get that phone call saying that my mom's either passed away or she's in the hospital in severe condition because she had an episode and there was nobody there to help. And it's scary because, I spread myself so thin because I love my people so much that I stopped taking care of me, and that's not good. That's not healthy. I can't, like, for instance, over worry about my mom or things happening to her. I can only try to put positivity out there that nothing will, be so serious that it literally suddenly just takes her away from me altogether. But in the same token, it could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen 12 years from now, 2 days from now, 4 months, who knows? And I I try to go over there and be with her, and I try to do things with her, and I try to help her. And then I come home and, I try to help Chris every way I can. And then he's constantly snapping at me or snapping at me too much. And, I have to, like, put my foot down. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. My baddest habit is, I stuff it down too much. I stuff it down, and then, I become my own time bomb, and I'm sitting there holding the match ready to light the fuse because I just can't stuff it down anymore. I can't keep ignoring the pain and the trauma that this is causing both of us, Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry, Dragon. That's horrible. That is, see, I hate to hear stuff, gets that bad. Oh, that's good. That's good. CO, Colorado? Is that Colorado? Okay. See, some of them I know, some of the initials I know, and some of them I'm like, what? George? But yeah, I just want him. I mean, overall, I just want him to be okay, of course. And I would like for us to move past this and be able to, come on a more even level to where we could develop the right communication skills, because him being autistic, even though he's high functioning and highly intelligent, um, he also has a hyper side, where, like, he's one of those techies that could have 4 or 5 different computers up at the same time, and one minute he's looking at this window and what's going on here, and next minute he's looking at this window, then he's looking at this, then I don't know how he did it, but he said this one neighbor of his would come down just to watch him because he was so fascinated and dumbfounded. How do you do that? How do you divide your attention up so many different directions like that, and it fascinated him. Yeah, so hey, teach me. I'm willing to learn. Excuse me. Oh goodness. Now comes the, oh yeah, that's all I need is being a gas bag today. I have the only diploma that I have right now on my person. There you go. I like that one. It says Stratford Career Institute. It's right on the wall in front of me here. And it's Janet Feinstein, Astrology and Parapsychology. So I actually have a diploma in astrology and parapsychology. But if you give me your birth date, I couldn't, like, rattle off your birthday right immediate. I would have to literally look it up, to see what one you were, and tell you basically, because there's so many out there. It's really, I mean, some you'll find a lot of similarities in the different zodiac signs, characteristics, and whatnot. And then some are like, no, you're kind of like that, but no, you're more like this, When I found out all that I was like, how can you be that many? but it's, your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, your, what zodiac sign your Venus is in, what zodiac sign this planet is in. It's mind boggling. Pisces. My brother, he's a Pisces. He's St. Patty's Day baby. St. Patrick's Day, 1963. So he's like 62 right now, poor dear. And, he has a lot of health issues too. He's living by himself. Don't really have a lot of friends. Don't have a girlfriend. March 14th. Wow, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. And I do have my birthday book around here somewhere. But, it's a live stream. So, not everybody may want everybody else that watches this to know. But I think it's a pretty good, I'm looking around for it to see where I put it. I think it's over there. Like when I read mine, I was like, oh, okay. And it made sense. It made sense. Being a Capricorn and, January 9th, 1969, and raised by a Leo. My mom's a Leo. My dad was a Virgo, just like Chris. I think my dad's birthday was sometime in September, if I remember right. Oh, yeah. Oh, honey, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. How many tarot decks I have. And they keep coming. I actually have a dragon deck. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I recently got these as a treat to myself. These are just, like you can put like 2 cards up, or you can put just one, like if you do a daily like card reading. And these are just, some different symbols that I thought was cool because I've never had them before. And sometimes it's kind of nice. And then there's the long john here, I call it, where you can put like several cards up. See where the slit is? You can put, depending on the size of the deck, you're going to be able to put more with some decks that are smaller. And then you're going to be able to put more for bigger decks. So I have a whole box, dude. I have a whole box of, tarot decks. It's ridiculous. And like, for instance, here's one called the Green Oracle. This one I love dearly. This is a little pouch that I got from one of the witch shops a while back. Sadly, that one went out of business. They're only online now. Affirmations. Well, these are basically just daily, what's my affirmation? They're daily positive quotes. Celtic Dragon. I'll tell you what mine is here in a minute. So like sometimes when I do a live stream, I'll do one card for the day, for myself. And then sometimes I'll do one for somebody else and just see, how many people are like, oh, wow, I watched your video the other day. And right when I watched it, that was exactly what I was going through. There you go. That's part of my gift. But I haven't done this one in a while. So, anytime you can do something like positive affirmations, that's always good. That's like the blessing list. 10 blessings every day. Write down 10 things that you're grateful for, why you're grateful for them. Reread your list and say thank you, thank you, thank you. And feel as grateful as you can for each one that you write down as a blessing. And then you draw more to you. Okay, what is my affirmation today? Letting go. I don't dwell on bad things that happened. I let things go because I have enough heavy things to carry around. That's definitely me. And also, grudges aren't a great look. No, they're not. Grudges don't do nobody no good. I'll get out my dragon deck and I'll do like the goddess of the day. If you go back further to some of my other live streams, I'll do the goddess of the day. I'll do the spell of the day. And the spell of the day I do out of 2 different books. And both of them are always like, oh, wow, that sounds so cool. I definitely need to do that one today. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But now, I've got a little bit of time because I'm really at this point, because like I said, since they took Chris this morning, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where he is, if he's been already moved to the James. I just hope that he's okay and that he's doing okay. Mine is, Caroline Mitchell, Dragon Path Oracle cards, illustrated by Taras Verey, Tirasveerey. This is my dragon deck. I got this from a Universal Light Expo one year. It called out to me and it kept calling out to me. So I'm like, okay, you've obviously picked me. Let's do this. I love my dragon deck. What is my dragon for the day? And what is your message? That's usually what I say. Oh, I know how that is. Believe me. I've got an altar, but it took me a long time, to accumulate a lot of the magic stuff I have. Okay, what dragon is with me today and what is your message? Oh, I love it. I got a pretty gold dragon and it says confidence. Isn't he pretty? I love my dragons. I love all my tarot decks. I've just got so many, it's overwhelming. They say, like, a lot of people, when they don't have an altar that they can set up, you can use a tabletop. You can use a little card table. You can use a little tea table, a TV table. You could even throw together some boxes and, as long as they're all flush and everything, so they're not all over the place unless you want them to be that way, throw some kind of a cloth over it to protect, and do the whole fire safety thing. If you could see my altar, you'd be like, wow, it's pretty impressive. I've had this thing for a long time, though. Somebody threw it out one year and I grabbed it and it's been mine ever since. It's a pretty nice one. I've had pictures of it in my other live streams before, but I'll try to get another picture on here soon. Okay, so that was, where did I put him? Confidence. Okay, and what I love is in the front of this book, it tells you what dragon is on what page. Confidence is on page 60. I turned right to him. I love when that happens. Okay. Call upon this dragon when your confidence has taken a knock. That would be me. Or when you feel you are unable to trust your own judgment. He gives you the hope and courage you need to carry on. He encourages you to dig deep and take the next step. He will be beside you all the way, supporting you as you go. He has beautiful dragon energy you can call upon in times of personal crisis and need, and that would definitely be today. Confidence is an awesome dragon to work with, but be warned, he can also be forthright. He says you can't sit there wallowing in self-pity. Very true. You have a job to do, so get on with it. Also very true. Kind of the tough love, He continues, you have many talents to draw upon and use. Yes, you have taken a few knocks and bruises along the way, but that is life. Your infinite abilities are yet to be explored and uncovered. Your task now is to trust yourself, your inner wisdom, and your intuition. Follow your feelings and listen to your inner guidance. This might well be scary, and you will be taking yourself out of your comfort zone, but playing safe doesn't aid your personal or spiritual growth. If you have no idea what course of action to take, ask for his guidance. Yes, please. But remember, he is not in any way soft or fluffy. He will tell or show you what you need to know bluntly and put things in your path that you need to understand. Look for the lessons, and from there you will begin to develop exponentially, both spiritually and personally. You will find your way under his compassionate guidance. Part of what confidence teaches us is that we are responsible for our own experiences. Very true. However painful or joyous, we need to learn to live, love, forgive, heal, and move on. He is probably one of the toughest dragons I have encountered, yet he is also gentle and caring. Tough love, I think it's called. Although he's straight talking, he does have huge compassion for us human doings. See, this particular deck, the dragons call us human doings, not human beings. Oh, cool. Okay. I will definitely see what that is. Oh, now I've got stuff. I'm doing the wrong. I've got two computers here. I'm getting the mice mixed up. Okay. Okay, let me get this one off of here. All right, I'm going to have to bring this up close so I'll be able to see it. Oh, wow. Oh, that's really pretty. I like that. Oh, yeah. Celtic dragon. Cool. That is definitely a nice one for sure. I like that. And you know, like I said, sometimes, like especially if I have somebody on, yeah, see, they will do that. They will call out to you. Bear that in mind if you get a telling off from him, dragon style. So, you know, he can be tough. You know, he can be tough love, but you know, he's really does have compassion for us because he knows that as humans, you know, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, you know, you're gonna have good days, bad days. You know, you just got to find more ways to get through them. So I will leave it completely up to you. And, you know, I'm not, I don't ever want anyone to feel like I'm forcing the issue. If you would like me to do a daily dragon for you from this deck, just say so, and I'll gladly do that for you. Because they're like, ooh, 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 he's got that dragon deck. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So they already like your deck. I think that's pretty cool. I remember the first deck that I got was when I got the dragon deck, rather, the first card I got. Like, this was literally me sitting down at the table, taking the wrapper off, and, you know, say, what is my daily message and my daily dragon? Oh, okay. Oh, you'll love it. Trust me. And you'll probably go, wow. Most people do. And see, you know, this to me is, you know, definitely the right way, you know, because they say you're not supposed to charge money for the gift. So when I do this on here, I do it because I want to do it. I don't, you know, I'm not, you know, like $5. No, come on, give me a break. Okay. What dragon is with my friend Dragon Slayer that's on with me right now? And what is your message for today? Oh, hello. You got Delphin. Isn't he awesome? And yeah, I think that's like I don't know if that's a mermaid tail or a whale tail or what going on there. It's called Delphin. Delphin. Okay, Delphin, let's see what you got to say here. Delphin, where are you? Ooh, he's a guardian dragon. 130. Ah, turned right to him again. Oh, I love that when that happens. That's so fun. Okay. Delphin is the etheric counterpart of the whales and the dolphins. So, yes, that was either a whale tail or a dolphin, one of the two. The whales are the earth's record keepers, and the dolphins are our spiritual ancestors. They carry the blueprint of our spiritual existence here on earth. This wise old dragon of the deep carries the same knowledge and understanding within the depths of his being. Delphin has this to say about our journey and the oceans of our planet. The waters of earth can cleanse or maim, support or take life. You too are faced with a similar choice. You can choose to heal and be healed, or swim in the riptides. Neither is wrong. It is only a matter of perspective and choice. You have been faced with arduous situations at times and made some bad choices too. But remember, you are human. And as humans must, your race makes mistakes and on occasion poor decisions. But that is all part of learning. It is time to forgive yourself and others and move on. Delphin tells us to look deep into our soul and asks, what is your purpose on earth? What is it we must discover about ourselves? Are we healers? A spiritual guiding light for others to follow? Are we seekers of the truth through science? Are we called to work with him possibly as ecologists or even marine biologists? He is very useful to call upon when we feel stuck and unable to go with the flow. His presence acts as a reminder that we would do well to stop struggling and surrender to the ebb and flow of life. For that which we resist persists. Your task is to uncover your driving passion and kickstart the job you came here to do. Make sense? Let's face it, I'm going through that too. I always love my dragons. It's always a great comfort to me to know that they're with me. Mine, let's see how many cards this one has. It goes from, as far as the balance, the dragons rather, the very first one listed is on page 46. So it goes from 46 all the way up to 118. So let me see. It doesn't say. It might say on the back. I mean, I could always count them and see how many cards are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So this deck only has 32 cards in it. And I also have, and I actually did this on a live stream one time on, I think it was TikTok, back when I was, on there more frequent and everything. And every time I would read for somebody, they're like, oh my God, that is so right. That is so me. That is so true. And I'm like, you're welcome. I mean, they're just here to help, so why not let them? This is my fairy blessing. It's a fairy blessing deck. And, I always love my fairies too, when they come out and say, hello, we're here to help. What's up? What's going on? How can we help? And all that fun stuff. But see, this deck is wide. See how, my fingers like barely curl around it. So these are harder to shuffle the way I do my normal ones, because these are still, they got, they don't have the flimsy to it from years of use. They still feel like they're brand new, like I just took them out of the box, 5 minutes ago. But I did a fairy for this one chick, and she was just like, she loved it. She couldn't believe it. She's like, that is so right. You are so good at this. I said, you're welcome. It's just my way of trying to, help out too. Okay. What fairy is with me today, and what is your message? Ooh. I've never gotten her before. A blessing of Ain. I think I'm saying that right. These are so big, it's hard to find a place to set them down. This is my fairy for today. Isn't she pretty? Got a real pretty blue gown on. She's got a blue crescent moon. She's got a green looking glove. She's holding a white candle. Real pretty long blonde hair, like almost down to her ankles, looks like. So, I mean, I love doing this. I love doing this for people because, if it helps them have a better day, then that's a good thing. Oh yeah, I can read people without cards too. Yeah. Hang on. Let me text my brother real quick and let him know I'm doing a live stream, so I'll have to call him in a little bit. It's no biggie. He just, him and I, we have our little talk sessions and stuff. So when I can't answer right away, I try to at least shoot him a text and let him know that, I'm just busy at the moment. But, ooh, that's a pretty tomato. Because he's, he can be very sensitive like me a lot of times. Okay. Okay, go ahead. I got to find Ain in here anyways. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Ain. Cool. I just quickly read through Ain's message to me, and yeah, my brother, he answered me back, so I'm not worried about checking the text right this instant or anything. Now, don't get me wrong, Dragon. I do have full blown tarot decks myself. I have Rider Waite. I have I've got so many. I can't. I mean, the list. It's going through my head, but I can't. See, I've got Rider Waite. I've got another fairy deck that's something. The cards I remember are gold and green. Ooh, excuse me. But that was probably just my brother checking up on me. One of these times in the future, just for fun, I will literally drag my box up here and show you guys how full. I mean, this box is literally full to the top. Yeah. Yeah, like I know I've got like Rider Waite. That was like one of the first decks I think that I ever got. And I was lucky it was given to me by a friend who had it herself originally. And she was kind of into it, kind of interested, but wasn't quite sure if she wanted to go the full 9 yards, and become like a full blown witch or Wiccan or, whatever pantheon she decided to go with, a Gardnerian. There's so many out there. Eclectic, open about many types of, magic. Ain says, the fairy gift of physical innocence, the blessing of knowing your body is your own, a source of gladness and enjoyment. So this is my fairy. Like I said, I love my fairies and my dragons. The fairies now bless you with the restoration of your innocence, that sense of being completely cleared of any guilt or dissonance around your body and your right to have completed sovereignty over your physicality. Your body belongs to you, fairy friend. It is yours to share or to hold to yourself. It is your choice to take lovers, to be free of all commitments, or to explore. It is your choice, and as long as you follow the magical principle of do no harm, you may do as you will. Let all your choices come from a healthy place. Let your sharings be nourishing and wild, freeing and glorious. Let intimacy grow, yet freedom remain, and let none ever make you feel ashamed of your choices regarding your own beautiful body. Be with whom you wish, do as you will, but, and ye harm none. That means yourself as well. Let yourself know that this gift of physical sharing or the joy of the body is to be from this time forth without shame. Let the fairy goddess Ain clear from you any residual fears around this autonomy and protect you from any forms of manipulation. You are blessed and whole and without sin. You are a child of nature, of the earth, and your physicality is blessed and beautiful and clean as pure flowing moonlight. Because, see, these are always so beautiful and uplifting and powerful and stuff. Ooh, cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be cool. I know, like, one of my dragons from my dragon deck that I just showed that comes through from time to time is Soul Dragon. And my Soul Dragon is literally my dragon counterpart. Like, he holds all the pieces of my soul, like throughout this life, and I guess all others that I've had, because I've always felt like this is not my first life. You know, I've been here before. I couldn't tell you exactly how many times, but you know, a few at least that I've been made aware of. But I did a dragon for you, so I wasn't sure if you wanted a fairy too, so I didn't want to like overkill it or anything. But you know, I would just do like fun stuff like that. So, you know, everybody feels included, like whoever might be on, they don't feel like, you know, oh, I wish she would do one for me, because sometimes I can pick up on it. But then sometimes, you know, I kind of wait for a cue from them because I don't want them to feel like I'm forcing it, you know, on anybody, because I'm not. But yeah, my very first Rider Waite deck that I was given, because it was given to me by a friend, I have probably the strongest connection with it. And I could I don't have to use the book when I read that one. I mean, I could do a full blown 10 card, you know, Celtic cross spread right now with one of my other decks, and it would be spot on, because it always is, you know, because again, they're tools. They're meant to help us. They're, you know, they're here to guide us, because they know that, let's face it, this is a pretty weird world, you know. It has its degrees of crazy, and then it has its degrees of nice, and it has its degrees of, I don't know what to, you know, what category to put this in. But I talked to my son Noah today, and that, I know I said that earlier. I really do hope that he gets himself together, you know, because I mean, he's going to be 20 years old this October 10th this year. So, you know, it's like, son, I love you, but you need to get your crap together, and you need to do you. You need to get you right. You need to, you know, get yourself on a more positive, you know, path. If you're not on the most positive one right now, seek guidance, you know, because he was brought up primarily, I think Christian or something like that. And for the short time that he was with us, you know, there were periods when he really did. I really believe he wanted to learn Wicca, and he wanted me to teach him. And I told him, I said, okay, son, I said, that's wonderful. You know, I'm glad that you've made that choice, and I'll do my best. But then too many other things happened, and, you know, we just never got around to it. Yes, I have decks that do those too. So yeah, see, sometimes when we put the pieces of the puzzle together of our past lives, then we can make sense of who we are now and what brought us to this point, you know, of evolution, you know, spirituality, the magic level, you know, like I already consider myself a grand high witch simply for the fact that I've been doing it for 33 years. I do have my own coven. It's Coven Moon Dance, but there's literally like only a handful of us right now, me, Norma, and Christy, and that's pretty much it. Because Chris is also involved with a coven called Full Light Coven, you know, because I'm his other half or whatever, you know, it automatically, I didn't have to go through an initiation or anything. they accepted me right away, which, some people like to do the whole initiation thing and then some don't, and that's okay. But it's got to be the intent. You got to have the right intent. Like, I know one of the decks my mom has that I absolutely fell in love with, and I'm surprised I don't have that deck yet, but it's called the Spell Deck. And literally every single card in the deck is a spell. Yes. I've got my fairy ring deck that I have, which I believe the book is up here, and I believe the cards are downstairs in the box that's literally full to the top. And that's still not all of my tarot decks. I have Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck. I have Halloween tarot deck, which every card in there but one has a black cat somewhere in the picture. I've got one that's more like, they call it more like a self-love deck. So it's positive. It's, again, positive stuff that you can learn and do for yourself. And it lets you know in a very positive way that, hey, this is what's going on. This is what, like, you get like a secret message, and stuff like that. And it's all just meant to guide, and help us on our path, whatever that path is, or whatever that path is meant to be, So when I finally came out of the proverbial tarot closet one year, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was the very first year that I worked Marcon, which of course sadly doesn't exist anymore. They disbanded it altogether, I guess. But I finally decided to do readings for people. And I did what you were saying, similar. I put up a tip jar, a donation jar, and I said, donations welcome and appreciated, but I'm not going to not read somebody if they sit down at my table and don't put $20 in my jar. If they have a handful of change or a couple of ones or a $5, or that's fine. Because to me, that's a good way to do it, because so many out there that do these tarot cards and that they charge you like $45 for a 30-minute reading. It just astounds me. It's like, what? And they always say, don't ask for money while using the gift, because it quickly controls its taker. Now, when you flip that around, like you and I do, donations welcome, but you don't have to donate. If you don't have it, or you're not sure this is for you, what if you have someone sit down and they don't like the message? Well, you can only tell them what the cards are telling you, and they're either going to like it or they're not going to like it. It's not up to me. I'm just telling you what the cards are saying. You interpret from there, where this makes sense in your life, where maybe it don't make a lot of sense, where you need to work on, different things and areas of your life to improve them, and I was drawn to this from like a very early age. I'm talking all the way back to when I was in school, middle school, 5th grade, even somewhere along those lines, and further up. I only made it halfway through 10th grade and then I quit like a dummy head. But I've always been drawn to the occult. I've always been drawn to witchcraft and witchery, and I always use my powers, skills, and abilities that I have learned over the years, different circumstances. I've been with different covens before and did like ceremonies with them, and and I got a lot of good out of it. And I love having a witch family, for sure, to be able to hang out with and stuff once in a while. But people, because they're working so many different hours and stuff. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, it can, like, if they're willing to do a second reading, for instance, then you might get further insight into it to where they can better understand. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, exactly. It can change because you subconsciously chose to do something different, and hey, you might have a good result. You never know. Me, I've always primarily been a solitaire. But when I first became a member of Coven Moondance, at first, like, I mean, like it goes with a lot of them. I'm not saying all of them are this way, but it's been my experience anyway, that at first everything was cool. There was a lot of cool people in the coven. We did, a decent amount of rituals and ceremonies and different things together. We even played Dungeons and Dragons because me and Chris are always looking for Dungeons and Dragons players. But because me and Norma are such novices with it, it's like Chris only played one D&D game. Yeah, yeah, it's hard. It really is. It's hard to find them out there. But when people start going their own separate ways into Coven Moon Dance, so good luck. I mean, I hope you do find one that feels right and has a good fit. Like Coven of the Winding Road, that's one that I'm not officially like part of. I'm not a member, but they let me go to certain ceremonies and stuff and rituals, which I need to reach out to Brian Edwards and see when the Mabon ritual is going to be and try to go to it if I can, because Mabon, I celebrate it on the 21st. Bible Belt. Okay. Well, that sounds interesting. Bible Belt. So you're in Jerusalem? I don't know, but yeah, it's hard to find them out there, and but after everybody kind of went their own separate ways with Coven Moon Dance, there was one fellow member that reached out to me one time, and oddly enough, he was also an ex-boyfriend of mine that I ended up having a child with. Oh, okay, Oklahoma. Okay, yeah, that's a ways, huh? That's a ways out there. Let's see. I was born, and I can't remember if I said that during the Christmas thing we did or not, but I was born in Pontiac, Michigan. Um, but I've lived primarily like different parts of Ohio and stuff like that, and throughout my life. But let's see. Uh, Hang on for a few minutes. I got to go use the bathroom. I'll try to be quick. But when your stomach starts cramping up. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah, you don't want to exactly announce that you're, Wiccan or witch of any kind there. I'll be back as quick as I can, Dragon. Okay, I'm back. Oh, I hate that, when your stomach is doing the cramping, it's like, ow. Oh my. If you don't go, you're going to go down your leg. Yeah, that's probably, I imagine that's pretty awkward. Um Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I try to be open about other religions. I'm not against necessarily. Hello, mystery person. Says there's two on here, but I have no idea who else is watching. It could be like a public person or something. I don't know. But um, around here, like for instance, one of the closest occult shops to us is it's like several minutes from here. Yeah, exactly. Um, you can also use a dresser top for an altar. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, at least, now that Krista's not here for the moment, I can smoke inside and don't have to worry about, because I try to be careful even doing that, because I know his breathing issues and stuff, and smoking something like this, sometimes it's not good for him to be around, and to me to be around him. And I always try to tell him, if this is getting to you, let me know. I can always walk, go into the bedroom or something and, sit at my desk in there and shut the door. So, you're getting the least amount of it, like bombarding you when you can already having trouble breathing. And Chris, for a while, he used to go to the window in the kitchen and he would open the window. He would prop it open with something, usually like a wooden spoon, because we had some wooden spoons that, could take the weight the best, because the thing that holds the window up automatic got broke one time when I think like I slammed the window or something accidentally and didn't mean to do it that hard, and it broke it, and we just never got it fixed. So we always had to do, if we want to open the kitchen window and have it stay open, we got to put something up under there that can take the weight, otherwise it's just going to snap it in half. But like, there there was a dream I remember I had once that, with me, I call them dream visions, because it must have been around the time of one of Chris's birthdays. I don't remember which one. And I dreamt that we were at a party for Chris. There was a bunch of familiar faces sitting around the table. We were in this big place with a lot of people and a lot of rooms. And it was a really fun celebration. Like, there was people all walks of life, it seemed. Sorry, something's got phlegm in my throat for some reason. And at one point, I remember seeing Chris sitting at the table. He was laughing. We were, smiling and just all kinds of good stuff. And then I felt somebody behind me. So I literally turned around in the dream and I saw this young man in a suit with, it was my dad. I straight up, I know it was my dad, because I remember what he looked like when he was young like that. He was wearing a suit and he was holding a single red rose. And when I turned around and looked at him, he had a gleam in his eye, kind of like that star in the eyes, or when you look at your children fondly, you have that glow or that gleam in your eye because you love them. And he was either, I think like he reached out the rose or something and handed it to me, and he smiled. And I think that was his way of saying, honey, I'm sorry. You're right. I could have been a better father. I wish I had been, and I'm sorry that I wasn't. I have really enjoyed watching you grow as a woman, grow into a woman. And, you do have that stand up for yourself attitude, and all that's great. And this is what I felt from him in the dream. Like, he was praising, he was also letting me know that he liked Chris, that he approved of him, if that's proper terminology there. And it was Chris's birthday celebration that the dream was about. So, and that's something that I will only see in a dream. because Chris is not the celebratory type, really. Like I am. I have always wanted a surprise birthday party my entire life, and here I am, 56 years old. It ain't happening. It's just one of those. Oh man, it would be so nice to be able to come home, surprise, and you know, even if it was only one time, just be able to have a nice big, birthday bash and enjoy it. So that was also, I think, by handing me the rose, that was my, dad. Like I said, he was trying to say that he was sorry, that he's proud of me. He's proud of the woman I've become. And, he sympathizes with the not so good stuff, that I've been through my entire life, and, wishes that he would have been there more, that he would have been a better father, and I appreciate that, because at least it's a start. But then again, there's times when I can be around my dad, and there's times when I can't, like when his spirit's around me. And if it's a bad day, I'm like, no, Dad, not today. I thank you for trying to comfort me, but I'm a mess right now. And I don't want to start like not trying to do it, but accidentally dwelling on all the negatives, because I have so few positive experiences to draw upon. I only got to see my dad, I think it was maybe 3 different times or something, when he was still living, and I was a teenager for every one of them. The last one was the most heartbreaking, though, because here I am, a 14-year-old kid. Ron and Naomi were with me at the time. They walked me into the room where all the patients were. That was like their day room or whatever, I guess, their social room and stuff. They would have like TVs going and different things like that. And I was sat at a table. I believe the table was round, and I believe it was big. You could fit like several people around it. And my sister and her husband walked out and left me in there with all those people. I was terrified. I was absolutely mortified. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Come on, Dad, come on, hurry up, hurry up. In my head, I'm screaming, please let him walk through the door. And sure enough, he walked through the door, sat down at the table, saw me, smiled, and started crying. And starts talking about someone named Janet Henry, and telling me how Janet Henry had his heart. Janet Henry had Daddy's heart, or has Daddy's. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, who is Janet Henry? What are you talking about? And to see my dad in a state like that really traumatized me, to the point that it's now become one of my greatest fears, is that I'm going to end up, that's just like him, in the sense that I'm going to end up in one of those places. And that terrifies me, because it is genetic in the bloodline. We have anger issues, we have temper issues, we have never gone to any rage reduction classes. Having German, Irish, and Dutch in you, that's not an easy combination to deal with either. Because my dad was more the German side. That's where the Mabius comes in. And then my mom is more the Irish and Celtic, because McGee, McGee, is our maiden name. That was her name before she married my dad. This is just my cat, Kalika. Yeah, German and Scottish, German and Irish, and here's a nice little tidbit that I would absolutely love to explore. But because of everything involved, I am right now especially unable to do so. But I supposedly, this has never been clarified, it's never been proven, but I have been told through some research that other family members have done, that was in our bloodline, and they were looking into the genealogy. Where do we come from? Who is our ancestors? Where, how do the different bloodlines throughout the times combine into the person that becomes you? And we supposedly, I don't know, and I'd really love to prove this. Oh, you moved, huh? Okay. I didn't realize you moved. Well, I'm glad that went well for you. But in conclusion with that, the Ireland thing, I would love to go to Ireland because supposedly I don't know if we still do, but supposedly at the time I was told this, we had some family, some ancestors, actual bloodline ancestors in Ireland that owned pubs. And I'm like, okay, Ireland, pubs, last name McGee. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. Never met them, never gone, because unfortunately, going to someplace like Ireland, you're going to another country. You need a passport, and I don't have one. Okay. Hey, remodel. I wish this place that I'm in would get remodeled because it could definitely use a facelift for sure. Because these apartments used to be offices before they became residential homes, and they're just little tiny 1-bedroom place, like we've said before, and you can't do a lot because you have very limited space. But in light of all the hospital trips and all the the decline of Chris's health, that terrifies me. I'm already thinking outside. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to live if he goes? And what further trauma is that going to cause me? How much am I going to riddle myself with guilt because I feel like I didn't try hard enough? I didn't do enough to make the relationship more successful and meaningful. And all I get is sniped at. I have trouble seeing any of the positives in it anymore. And he is literally the longest relationship I have ever had. But the 2 times that he unalived himself, he did it both times because we broke up. So what do you think that's going to do to my brain? And how would I not feel guilty? Like, oh, so you're basically saying it's my fault that you offed yourself because we're not together anymore? That traumatized me. In my head, that was not fair of him to do that, Okay. Yeah, like the where my mom used to live. It's when she lived in Whitehall. She's still in Whitehall. She's just on a different street now, but she used to live on a street called Santa Maria Lane. And there was a field that you could access if you walked around the block a certain way and stuff, and you'd literally go right to it. And it was off of Broad Street. That whole neighborhood, it used to be an army base, and that was the housing. That was the housing where, soldiers could have their families like move in, and that would be their home. So that way they could be on the base with their loved ones, that were serving in the military. And there used to be this one field. They said that used to literally be a landing strip. Like they would land planes and stuff. Tinker. Oh, wow. I've never heard of that one. I don't know what that one was named down there where my mom used to be, but I found it fascinating being a history buff myself. I love historical stuff like that and knowing about it, especially when you happen to be living in a house that once housed military families, so that they could, live with their family. Oh, okay. It's in Oklahoma. Okay. I don't remember the name. Like I said, I don't even know if they have any signs up anymore of what that field used to be or anything, kind of like a little plaque that said this used to be an airfield and, stuff like that. But it would be interesting to know, to be able to see this place like eons ago, back even as far as before I was born, because I don't think it's ever been determined how long that base has been there. That's now a residential area, but back then it was a base. It was housing for your military people and stuff. And I just thought that was so cool because we do have military in the family. My dad, Chris, my brother, he never did any military. I never did any military. My mom never did any military, but I can only imagine being an empath, especially when somebody feels confident and safe enough in their friendship with me to talk about these things. My heart breaks every time for what you guys have been through. And how do you survive that? How do you mentally keep yourself okay? and sometimes it's just not easy at all, because you just feel so defeated, so helpless, so fragile. You get angry, you get frustrated because you can't take care of yourself anymore. But see, some of the stuff that Krista's ever said to me that scares me is talking about sitting out in a hot car in the middle of the day in the blazing sun with all the windows up to unalive himself again. And I'm like, oh no, not this. Please, no, not this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Because then I end up over focusing on it. And then that's what causes the nightmares. That's what throws the relationship even more off kilter, because I constantly feel like I'm being attacked. Like, no matter what I do, it's not good enough. And no matter what I try to do in the future, it's never going to be good enough. I get it that he's upset, that he's angry, that, aside from actually being him, I can only tell what I felt. And, there's been times when he would literally sit here on the couch crying because he felt so bad. Oh my. Wow. Oh, really? Wow. Italy, World War II. My goodness. Oh, okay. See, Chris, I don't know if you remember this or not, but Chris was naval aviation. And I was like, okay, Navy, I'm thinking boats. Where does aviation come into it? But he explained, he used to work on a lot of the flying machines, helicopters and different things. And he's even worked on the big ones that, like, the inside of it is so huge you can put like full size tanks in, and something like that. Pretty big. I never remember the proper name of those, but I got to go to I think it was some kind of an air show one year, and they literally had one of those there, like it was like the front and back of it was cut off. Oh wow. Oh my gosh. So yeah, yours goes back a long ways. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Um but yeah, this thing, you could tell that it used to be one of those machines. Okay, C5, that's probably right, cuz they were like some kind of like giant helicopter looking thing or something, I guess. That could fit like really large size, like you'd look up at the ceiling and suddenly you would feel like this high. Like, oh wow. And they had I think that was some kind of, like, they had tables on the inside of it, and it was like the whole inside of it, and you could walk around in a circle, and they had like souvenirs and stuff. Okay. C5 was a plane. Oh wow. So yeah, that's pretty big plane if you can fit tanks in it. Oh my goodness. Um But, one of the reasons it's my understanding that Chris even went into the army was because of his family. Oh, I believe it. Yeah. And football fields are not tiny. Um, but, uh, this thing, it was really neat to go through. They had stuff on the tables. I think they had like little souvenirs you could buy and stuff. And then they had like some literature on like some of the, different wars probably, and different history, related stuff, historical stuff about, different, cavalry and guys that died in so many horrible ways. It's just not even, it's horrible. It's not fun to think about. And like the Gettysburg, that whole thing. And there's been a lot of paranormal, like, investigators that have gone to these places where they swear up and down that I am not faking this. This is for real. But my opinion's always been, if the only way to really truly know is if you're actually there. If there are spirit energies there, you're gonna feel it. But you better go in, blazing, in the sense, have plenty of protection amulets on you, have as strong of a protection like bubble around you as you can, shield you from any of the negativity. And, you'll always got to do the whole, please stay where you are. You cannot leave. Do not follow me. Do not attach to me when I leave this place. Thank you for any of you that did try to let me know you were here and tried to communicate, but be kind. Don't do stupid stuff like I've seen the Paranormal Files do. And I'm like, oh no, you did. Oh my gosh. Like one of the ones Colin did one time that I could not even bring myself to watch it. Just watching a snippet of it, I'm like, are you really that idiotic? I hate to say that, but he literally pricked his finger. Him and a group of people were sitting about in a circle, and they were doing the Ouija board, of course, and they opened a portal, and now Colin's blood is on it. And what do you think the energies are going to feed on as soon as they get there? They're going to feed on that blood, and then you are toast without jelly or butter or anything. Bad, 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 all the way around. And I was like, what? Yes. Blood magic. No. I'm not saying that it's all dark or evil or anything. I guess it's all in the way you use it. But considering in that particular video, from what the snippet showed and knowing the Paranormal Files like I do, that was stupid. That was you are you're playing with fire and you're about to douse yourself with gasoline. You don't know what can follow you home. You don't know what can attach itself to you and threaten your life, threaten your family's lives. The horrors just that never end. But you know what? Damn it. You were stupid enough to do that stupid shit. So you get what you deserve. I hate to say it, but it's true. You don't do that. You don't do that, period. I have never used blood. Exactly. A bad attachment. And I mean, just because it's a bad attachment, how many people scream, oh, it's a demon. Oh, God, come on, stop it. How do you know that? Are you a demonologist? Have you been doing it for 40 years? Don't make assumptions where you have no right, because you're just asking for trouble. And like when I went through the whole Guzion thing, that was scary enough. I'm talking this energy, whatever it was, and I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, but it is a remote possibility. Either Guzion himself showed up in my basement, in the building, the very building I live in right now. Okay. We do have a basement area. There's like a whole floor underneath the ground floor. Like there's our floor, there's the ground floor, and then there's the basement. Okay. If you go down our side of the steps all the way down to the basement and go to the left, the first door you hit there, that's our storage area. We've got 2 storage cages in there, Chris and I, because I have too much stuff. But I'm not the only one that has a lot of stuff. And you're talking stuff that's accumulated over 18 years. Give me a break. We have a big storage cage in the main room. And then we have a little storage cage. As soon as you open the door and unlock it, 'cause they always padlock it. Good idea. You flip the light switch on. There's a little area right there, a little storage cage right there. And then it's actually 3 rooms. Oh, he is? I didn't know that. See, that's what I mean. I've only seen so many of Beardo's lives and stuff. I don't remember him saying that, but he probably did. That he's a demonologist. He knows something about it. And I had this candle that was probably maybe about that tall. It was probably about that big around. Like it was fatter than a taper. I think it was considered a pillar candle, but it was like, I'm used to them being bigger, like depending on the ritual and the degree of power you need. And this one was little. This one was like a baby version of what I know pillar candles to be. Oh, wow. 94%. Way to go, Beardo. Good for you. But I was, because some of the stuff that I was able to find out about Guzion was he was like his direction was north. Scary enough. That's my primary direction, and being an earth sign, and everything too. And I did not ask for an elaborate show or anything of the sort. I just wanted to see what it would be willing to do. And I said, okay, Guzion, if you want to prove that you're here, and it's totally up to you. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm not trying to pressure you. You're a demon, for God's sake. You know, if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. I'm just a plaything to you. So I said, see how high you can make the candle flame. I kid you not. From a little candle about that big, the flame, which normally would be down here somewhere in the range, was like more like this. I mean, it was definitely unnatural. It got so high that it almost caught the damn ceiling on fire. And so I was like, whoa, okay, that's good. But I didn't react that way. Like inside I was going, damn. But I was like, oh, cool. You know, it's pretty good. But it was more like yeah. Well, see, there's been, you know, tidbits of information about that too, that I've never been able to deny or say that it's true because I've never gone down that path. They say a lot of demonologists and stuff that have worked with different demons in different ways that they do things and stuff and know the different levels. And, you know, Guzion being the 11th Duke of Hell, I mean, that sounds like pretty high up on the rung there to me, right? And I was like, oh, okay, you're like really close up there to being the super special one, I guess. And when you know about them, they know about you. When you open your awareness to them, they in turn can come through to you, even when you don't want them to. And I've heard some pretty scary stories that other people have experienced, that other investigators have experienced, that I had to stop watching them after a certain time of night because I started having nightmares because the energies were that intense. And to feel it that intensely through a video screen and a computer, yeah, that's scary because it's all energy, right? So they could transform themselves into a beam of energy, and they could literally teleport not only from hell itself, but go right into the computer to where like it's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And you're like, what is going on? You know, and it's like, you can't explain it. You can't. It's like, guys, please help me debunk this. Cause if this is for real, I'm out of here. You know, this is getting too dangerous. But I was curious, you know, and I mean, curiosity is not necessarily a bad thing. Just be very, very careful what, you know, curiosity you're trying to fulfill. This is what happened to me. At one point, me and Norma, a good friend of mine, was sitting down in the basement in the room I spoke of that had the big, because I've done rituals down there. I've done live streams down there. I've done all kinds of fun stuff down there. We used to have basement gatherings down there when COVID first hit, and everybody that was living in the building at the time, a lot of us were friends. And I was like, well, you know what? Our apartments are tiny, so it's really hard to go visit. So let's go down into the basement. Yeah, because, you know, there's dark energies that can absolutely be convincing that they are some hierarchy of a demon that you don't want to mess with. I've heard of people being possessed by a type 8 demon, and I heard that's pretty bad. You know, that's pretty high up on the scale of, oh crap, how did you survive that one? Because they say that sometimes, like if you become prone to getting possessed, or you get possessed once, then they can do it again. Don't ever open that door. And I almost did. Yes, I believe that. Yeah, I've had some bad experiences with the Unseelie Court, and that is definitely dark fae. And what they did to me was totally uncalled for. It was unfair, and I didn't do any wrong, and yet they attacked me, and I was the innocent one here. And we got a sign that it was okay to go in, and that we would, because we asked for safe passage, and we were going through this park, me and a group of witches. It was in the middle of winter. I remember it was around Imbolc, so it was in February. And I went by myself. I don't remember even if me and Chris were together by then or not, but I ended up went by myself. And I met up with this group of ladies. And right at the entrance of the park, or the trail we were going to walk, there was a lot of snow on the ground. So the leader, or the lady that I guess considered herself the leader, she said, we asked for safe passage. I'm just fixing my pocket here. It gets bunched up. we, we allow a safe passage through your forest, being respectful, right? Which is a good thing. And it's not like we were purposely calling on the dark fae, because no, we were not. But before, or like right after, I can't remember. I think it might have been before we even stepped a foot on the path. They proceed to tell me that, oh, by the way, we opened a portal here a year ago and forgot to close it. Oh my goddess in heaven, are you joking? How stupid and irresponsible can you get? What can come through in a year? That's 365 days, folks. Okay. That's bad. That's really, really bad. So some really bad stuff could have come through that portal because they forgot to close it. So I'm about to walk on a path with a bunch of women I barely know in the middle of winter that, get this, we were just walking along, and just out of absolutely nowhere, we looked down on the ground after the lady asked for safe passage through the forest, that we meant no disrespect or any harm to anyone or anything there. We just was doing a walkthrough, celebrating Imbolc. It gave us a rune with a couple of sticks, or a twig or stick of some sort fell and shaped itself in such a way that was the rune saying, okay, you have our permission, which I thought, hey, that's cool. We all witnessed that. It wasn't faked. So we're walking along, we're having a little discussion. I'm just taking it all in, and we got ready to leave. We ended up on a little bridge that was very, very small, little hill-like thing you walked over. And I had a bottle of fairy dust. And as a further appeasement to them, I literally took the lid off and I threw I emptied the bottle and said, please accept this offering of fairy dust. Thank you for the safe passage through the forest. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything disrespectful, yet they saw fit to attack me. And I made the mistake of inviting them home with me, which was stupid. And next thing I know, I got hit with a really bad cold sore that almost took up my entire top lip. Just instantaneously appeared out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the F? Okay. So after that encounter, I sent them away. I called on one of the queens of the fairy realms. They have seasonal queens. I went with Queen Una, which I think is a winter fairy. She's a winter queen. And I said, can you please make them back off and leave me alone, because I feel like they're attacking me for no reason. I did them no wrong. I did them no harm. Yet I'm being attacked because I was not with the group that opened that portal and left it open for a year. If anything, I would have been the one, as everybody was walking out, guys, shouldn't we, what are we forgetting here? And some of them might turn around and go, what are you talking about? We opened a portal, right? Don't you think we should close it? That might be a good idea. Why is everybody just walking to their cars? And are we really going to be this irresponsible and leave this open where anything can come through? And don't even get me started on the damage it could do, because depends on what comes through and how much of and how strong, and that whole deal. So where it got the creepiest for me was at one point, this, I'll just say, dark energy asked me to be its wife. And I was like, no, that's it. Stops now. I'm out of here. No more Guzion. No, I'm done with this. Nope. I am not going to get proposed to by a freaking dark energy that wants me to be its wife. I don't want to be the queen of hell. No, sorry. No, I'd rather not. You go ahead. Find somebody else. Leave me alone. So I learned some harsh lessons from that. And I never went back on it. And I mean, for a while, I even had Guzion symbol as my freaking wallpaper on my computer. Because I never felt threatened by it or anything. But it's all part and partial to how the dark ones get you. They gain your trust. They're real nice and friendly. If you treat them with respect, if you're lucky, they'll treat you with respect. If you do the proper thing, you cannot stay here. You cannot, don't attach to me. Please go back to your realm. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for announcing yourself the way you did. That was completely okay and acceptable. Be respectful. But that was the end of the line for me, because then I was doing auto writing. They call it spirit writing, where you can put a pencil down or a pen on a piece of paper and say, are there any spirits here? And then you just you only hold on to the pen or pencil tightly enough that it don't fall out of your grip. But then you let that energy take control of that part of your arm so that they can write, the messages. And that's how it said, "Would you be my wife?" And I went like this, and I went, I was like flabbergasted at first, because I never thought I would see the day that I would get proposed to by a dark energy like that. But it woke me up. It made me realize that not only was I about to literally willingly walk into the gates of hell, possibly, or a place that I would never be seen again, and my soul would be ripped to shred, and there wouldn't be no more of me. And yeah, that didn't sound like and I was about to take innocence with me. I had my group of people down there as we were doing the gatherings. Even though a ritual wasn't going on at the time, they knew I was talking to Guzion. They knew that I was communicating with this thing. And, they didn't judge me for it, though, because I wasn't doing it to gain power or to do some kind of dark magic on somebody, because I know the price you pay for that. That's not me. That's not my bag. That's not my thing. That's not what I do. I do the good stuff. I don't do the bad stuff. If you want to learn about the bad stuff, I will teach you about the bad stuff to a point, but that doesn't mean I'm doing it. And I would definitely never recommend that you ever do it, period. Just don't. You don't know what you're walking into here, and it could cause a lot of harm to a lot of people, not just you. And then how are you going to feel when you realize you just destroyed a bunch of innocent souls because you took them with you because they trusted in you, that you knew what you were doing, and you went to these forces, and now you're no more. Like, no, that is definitely not good. So after that, I snapped out of it. I stopped going down there. I ripped up all the symbols that I had about Guzion. I stopped all communication. And I said, this is it. I'm done. No more. Thank you. And again, even in the end, I tried to be respectful and say, please, I need you to leave. I fulfilled my curiosity. I'm not afraid of you, but I'm not following you either. I'm not signing up to be on your demon wagon. Sorry. I don't want to be the queen of hell. No. I'm in my own hell right now, so I don't need to go down there to the for real hell. And no, that's horrible. And I remember, like many paranormal investigations of others that I used to watch, where they were so into the whole demon thing that, this one particular guy, he literally went into a full-blown account of what this thing looked like when it approached him, how it approached him, what the area looked like. And he said, imagine a Dr. Seuss novel, but with a really darkness about it, not the positive, happy, what it used to be and what it was meant to be kind of thing. And just completely dark, and just like you would take one look at it and go, oh, and just get the shivers everywhere. Not a good place. And this thing showed up in a truck, and it disguised itself to be somebody that it wasn't. And through his peripheral vision, this guy claims he saw the face very clearly of what this thing really looked like, so accurately that he drew a picture of it. And when he drew a picture of it, I went, ooh, because it was alarming. It was very scary. And he said that they drove up to a warehouse, got out. This thing was talking him into whatever it was trying to talk him into. He basically walked into the gates of hell, so he claims. And he saw some really, really odd things happening in different rooms. And when you first walk in, from the outside, it just looks like a warehouse. You walk in, it looks like a 5-star hotel, and the decor is red and black. Fancy chairs, fancy couches, the whole glamour glitz thing. Like, oh, wow, this is hell. Well, sign me up. I want to stay. No. There was dog-faced women down there that were endlessly tormenting souls. And there was a demonologist that this guy ran across while he was there, and she was making handcuffs for these things. And all the while they were being invited to join, and they're like, no, sorry, no thanks, rather not. I'm out of here. But the fact that they was there and that they had that experience, if you could prove it, because how do you prove something like that? The only way that I would know to prove it is to go there, and I don't ever want to go there. That's what scared me so much about the basement, And the whole Guzion thing is because I saw that lobby exactly the way the guy described it appear in front of me in my mind's eye. And I was like, okay, that's it. Nope. And I stopped everything right there. I did a prayer to Yehoshua, the goddess and God, all the good spirits, all the angels, all the positive. I was like, nope, this is done. No more. Because my friends trusted me, and I almost got them hurt, because these things could have attacked any one of them, especially the more spiritual the person. And among them was another of my good friends that's no longer with us. He passed away, but bless him, he was full-blown Christian, blind guy, sweetheart of a guy. And he was one of our group. And all we did, so we would just have those gatherings down there where we would all hang out, visit, talk about whatever, try to keep the conversation light, try to keep it positive, just things like that. And, everybody had a good time. We didn't have to go anywhere. Because, at that point, everybody was like terrified to even go outdoors, understandably so, because this whole COVID thing, when it first hit, it scared a lot of people really quick. And because of the chemo and the radiation that Chris has gone through, his immune system has now been compromised to where if I get a cold or get any kind of a remotely sick around him, I have to start wearing a mask, because if he gets it, it could be fatal to him. He's that weakened. He's that, oh my gosh, it's like, it's just horrifying, and I would not wish that on anybody. I truly wouldn't. I want to believe that there's still love there, but I've just been through too much bad, and the bad has been so much and on such deep levels that it's really difficult for me to remember any of the good much anymore. And that just further makes me think, am I right by staying with him, or should I could just, cut my losses and go? And he doesn't have anywhere to go. He doesn't have any family. He doesn't, his mom and dad are both gone. He doesn't get along with any of his siblings. He don't want to move. He's certainly in no shape to, and I've already decided, regardless of what I might say on here, I'm ready to get out. And I don't like that I've gotten to that point that I just don't want to be a part of this anymore. And I'm not saying that I'm the bad guy. I'm not saying he's the bad guy. There's just too many gaps I can't even begin to fill. And because we both had baggage, like I said before, when we came into the relationship, we should have got rid of that baggage before we ever got together, because that just ended up causing us more trouble, and I wish we could go back and change it and make it out to be something more positive and more loving and, like we once were, but I just don't see it anymore. And I'm not going to kick him out on the street, for goodness sake. I'm not that person. I'm pretty much probably with him till he dies, but I'm questioning just how close to death is he, because I just can't keep doing this. And I don't mean anything, harsh or harmful or mean or hateful or spiteful or anything towards him. I might vent a lot about what happens, but I don't want that to be his fate. I don't want him to leave this world thinking that he really had no reason to stay, so he just left and finally gave up the ghost, as it were. But due to the fact that he unalived himself twice when we were together, because we had broken up, and that was why he unalived himself. How does that supposed to make me feel? That made me feel, what kind of a female dog must I have been, or maybe he still feels that I am, that I would do something like that, because I'm not perfect by no means, but I'm not that cruel and heartless and harsh. But he sure has no problem shelling it out to me, and I don't know what to do anymore. Because if he can't meet me halfway, what does that leave me? My kids love him. They call him dad, and he's literally like the only one out of all the guys I've been with throughout their lives and mine that they call dad, and they feel like is their dad, even though we know that they're not bio dad, and they're not biologically his children, but that doesn't matter. It's one of those, they still consider him dad, and him and I have been together a long time. But every time I tried to send him away, I wasn't just doing it to be mean and hurtful. I was doing it because I was at my wit's end. I didn't know what else to do. And I felt like we were just dooming ourselves by staying together, and that we just were not meant to be a couple. We are not a good couple. And I've done numerous things to try and change that and try and make that better. But now it's just come down to this. And I don't like that when I say I love you, it doesn't, I don't feel it anymore. It's just empty words. And I never thought I would see the day that one guy even would ever be with me this long. But every time I tried to send him away, he always came back. He kept coming back. He kept finding ways back in. And I was like, I'm sorry, Chris, but I just don't want to go through this again. I don't want to do this again. And every single time he always found a way back in. Now, from his perspective, yes, I would imagine that is probably like the deepest love you could ever think of or imagine having with somebody. But when suddenly it feels like it's just gone and you don't even remotely know how to get it back, or is there even anything there to salvage? And I'm like, rocking a hard place, back up against the wall. Help me out here. What do I do now? I've got to come up with some kind of a plan, some kind of a backup. How am I going to live? Where am I going to go? Because there's no way that I could handle this place by myself for $967 a month. There's just no way. Not if I'm already paying $465 a month in rent, and I pay all of the rent. Chris don't pay any towards the rent, but he more than makes up for that by paying over $600 in bills. But how many of those bills are actually utilities as opposed to his stuff? Things that he's ordered, credit cards that he's gotten from all these places, and then he expects me to pay his credit card debt. That's not right. That's not fair. I did not tell him to spend foolishly like that, and I made my own mistakes, because the first 3 that I had, I did really badly with. But now that I'm on this new batch, I went with low security deposit. I pay off my balance in full every month. As soon as my check is loaded, that's one of the first things I do. I go to Self and I pay the balance on my Self card, and I go to Open Sky and pay the balance on that. And now I have the Dave app, and I don't know how long before they have my actual Dave card in the mail. But right now I can still put money in my digital wallet. So if I want to make purchases, and stuff, I can use my Dave card to do it. As a matter of fact, I used it. I had like 25 on there. Excuse me. And I used it to get 2 of these nice, good sized bottles of Dove lavender body wash for me and my mom, because my mom's always been a Dove girl. She loves Dove soap. I've always loved it. I've never had a reaction to it. And I even got these, these are anti-stress. And I got 6 bars. They're Dove. They've got oat milk in them. And what else? Oh, crap. Almost spilled my drink. No, I got the lid on it. Chamomile, blue chamomile, and oat milk moisturizer to calm the skin. So it's like an anti-stressor for the skin. And it's really pretty. It's got, it's got a really nice scent, and it actually is blue. And I haven't used it yet. So, but anyway, so I used my Dave card, the little bit that I was able to put on there. And, trying to get used to the whole digital wallet thing too, because, there may be times in the future, especially if my postcard business gets finally off and running, that something like that might come in handy, because it might be a quick way to like load some money, or just to save some by putting even if it is just as little as like 25 or 20 or something like that on it, once a month, and then just try to leave it alone, unless like some kind of emergency comes up that you really need it, or something. So, but anyway, good gracious, we've been on here over 3 hours. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not holding you up from doing anything that you need to do. What time is it? It's 7:15. I still got to call my brother back. I still need to take a shower. And then I was going to do a soak in this little tub that I got from Temu, because my own faucet I can't use to do hot baths right now. The piping is so old, it needs redone, completely redone. And the little metal thing in the middle that you used to be able to pull up to get the shower to activate, and then you would push it all the way down to get the faucet to activate. Yeah, exactly. And $967 a month, that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. It really isn't. Um, so I don't know how, where to go from here, but I had to try some things. That's why I decided to go with my postcard business, because it only cost me $2 to get the startup kit. When they give you the startup kit, it has everything in it. Yeah, exactly. The cost of living's gone up. The cost of groceries have gone sky high. Trying to get a place, even an apartment, they want you to have 3 times the amount of the rent every month before they'll even consider you. It's like, what am I going to do? What options do I actually have here? And it's not looking like many. If it takes a turn for the worse and they end up putting him in a home or something, I don't want to see that for him. I don't want that to be his fate any more than I would want it to be my mother's. And she's been in Whitehall Manor before, and it was bad. Like, there were sections that when I would walk through it to get back to her room, it smelled so badly of urine. It was just gosh awful. And they did not treat their people right. The staff didn't care. They refused to let a news crew in because the news crew was about ready to blow them out of the water, and they didn't like it. So they refused to open the door to them. And my mom was in the farthest room from everybody else. She didn't have a roommate. She had one in there a couple of times, but it was short-lived. And all this because of an accident that she had at home that had nothing to do with abuse. She took a tumble. She broke a bone in her wrist or something. And when they took her to the hospital, she just wanted to go home. She did not want to be there. And they forced her into Whitehall Manor. And I was not happy because they were so convinced that she was being abused at home. So, you're basically telling me to my face that I broke my mother's wrist. If that's the case, why would I be here? And don't give me that guilt tripping shit either. I would never harm my mother. I would never lay a hand on my mother. I might exchange some harsh words with her, but I would never physically strike her, so they made me feel like, public enemy number one. And they were convinced that she had been abused. And I'm like, no, you are wrong. She has not been abused. And she will tell you herself, because mom's a Leo. She's a strong-willed lady, she don't take no crap. Right. So she will put somebody in their place if they go there where they should not go, or they cross a boundary they should not cross with her, because then she goes off on them, and rightly so. I forget how long she was over there, but every single day, Dragon, I was there every single day, because I was not about to let my mom stay in that place with nobody coming to visit. And I'm literally the only one that did go and visit. I think the church that she was with at the time, Christian church, of course, she don't like me being a witch either. The pastor at the time, I think they came and visited her, and she had a bunch of her clothes from home, but they were all dirty. So they literally took her clothes back to their place, washed them, dried them, brought them back to her, because the staff in there didn't give 2 shits about doing it for her, which I'm sure was probably part of their job. And she, I would literally stay there as long as I possibly could every single day. And, because I wasn't going to let her be abused. And one of the times she said she woke up in the middle of the night, and one of the staff was messing with her diaper that they had put on her. And he was trying to get in her pants. Literally, he was going to molest, possibly even rape my mother. And she was, helpless in a bed. Yeah, she would have fought him tooth and nail, and he probably would have got his twig and berries bitten off. But you know what? Go for it, Mom. Because you're being sexually abused. And I hear too many stories about that in the news a lot, that is the very type of stuff that goes on. And they get away with it. How? Why? What is wrong with this picture? This is nuts. But I'm going to go, I guess, for now. Thanks for hanging as long as you did. We're, connected on Facebook now. So I will try to get on there more often and like post once in a while too, to say, hey, when I'm not on here doing a live. So, and I, it really helped a lot. So, thanks for being that friend, when I really needed it, and just listen. And that's all that I've ever tried to do with people. Sometimes you need to talk, sometimes you just need someone to listen, and get that stuff out, and you feel so much better and so much lighter, and it's worth it in the end. So, blessed be. Hope to see you again soon, and we will definitely keep connected, and we'll see where the wind takes us. Yeah, I will. I promise. I'll let him know about you on Facebook. I don't remember if he has a Facebook or not, but I'll let him know that you said that and that you're there. Maybe he can get on and do a live or something himself, and you can always pop on his. So thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Blessed be. See you next time.